And we are live. How's everybody doing tonight? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and you're watching and/or listening to ABL Live. Thank y'all for joining me tonight. You could be almost anywhere in the world, but you're right here with me live on the show, and I appreciate y'all for that. We got a whole lot going on all over the internets, all over mainstream media, social media, everywhere, and I don't know where to start. First of all, did you guys see the summit put on by Blaze Media, hosted by Tucker Carlson? It was a very interesting show. No Trump in the building, but it was still interesting. We'll talk about that a little bit more a little bit later. Also, an 8-year-old boy went on a high-speed chase after carjacking someone at gunpoint in Alabama. We'll talk about that a little bit more a little bit later. Also, the White House cocaine. We don't know who it belonged to. We did an investigation. We looked into ourselves and we discovered that we didn't do anything wrong. We'll talk about that in a minute. Also, we got to speak a little bit more about this guy, Ray Epps, suing Tucker Carlson, speaking about him, and also Fox News for saying that he was a Fed. We'll talk about that a little bit more. Also, a crazy story that has happened before. Maybe you don't hear about it too much. A woman trying to rescue a toddler on the interstate out there again in Alabama who wound up missing afterward. And then there was no report of a child that was missing at all. Was this child used as bait to get her in a vulnerable spot at night to where she was abducted? We'll talk about all those things and more on tonight's episode of ABL Live. Thank y'all again for being here. You guys are the best audience anywhere on these internets. If you like what you're hearing so far, if you enjoy the content in general, please give the video a thumbs up, like the video, share the video, do all of that good stuff. That'll help me out tremendously. This is also a podcast you're listening to right now. You can check it out on your favorite audio streaming platforms the morning after. So it'll be 8 a.m. Eastern Sunday. You'll be able to hear this podcast right now without video for free, no commercials. Go to your favorite audio streaming platform, whether that be Spotify, Google Play, Apple iTunes, etc. Link for that will be in the description, or just visit your favorite audio streaming platform and search ABL Live. I should pop right on up. Shout out to the sponsors. Y'all know how I do. Shout out to patriotpost.us, your best source of news and information. I have yet another op-ed, I guess you would say, coming up on patriotpost.us next week. You know, I've been doing those for a while. I fell off the horse, but I'm back doing my op-eds over on Patriot Post. And there's a whole lot more beyond my written op-eds on the site. They got everything that you need, all your best news information, whatever, right there on the website, patriotpost.us. Also, my website's ablmerch.com. Y'all already know what it is, ablmerch.com. We got hats, t-shirts, stickers, hoodies, mugs, and more right there on the website, ablmerch.com. Also, anthonyblogan.com. Go to the front page of the website. You can find articles for each video that I produce. And there's always sources, left, right, independent, local, national, whatever you want. I always cite my sources at the end of each article. I also place videos that I can't post necessarily right here on the YouTube, whether they be just too long or got to be censored, whatever the case may be. Prime example, the summit put on by Blaze Media, I posted the entire 8-hour plus event right there on the website through a YouTube link. Again, AnthonyBLogan.com. Go to the contact page, AnthonyBLogan.com/contact. You can find my email address, my email address, my social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that good stuff is right there on AnthonyBLogan.com/contact. And I always say each and every show, because y'all still send me emails talking about, hey, I thought I was talking to you for 6 months through a YouTube comment on WhatsApp, and then you told me to send you $500 in Bitcoin to some random address. I will never do that to you. I'm never going to be in the YouTube comments talking about hit me up on WhatsApp. I'm never going to do that. The only way you will contact me is through the means that are available on my website. That's it. That's all. The only phone number that you will ever get is the one that's right there. You might have missed it, but it's 434-658 1220. And that number only works during the show when I take calls. It doesn't even work right now as I'm speaking, doing my introduction. So I don't want to have anybody email me talking about they got scammed. Anybody got time for that? The Nigerian dude laying on his bed in Lagos, eating jollof rice and fufu, scamming you, or the 1,500-pound Lithuanian person laying on the ground, eating borscht and all that good stuff, trying to scam you. That's not me. I'm over here in Tennessee, minding my business, putting out the good content for you guys. I'm not trying to scam you. So don't nobody get scammed. 2023, 2024. Ain't nobody got no time for that. We got crazy inflation. You need all your coins in your pocket. So again, all my contact information is right there on the website, anthonyblogan.com/contact. I'm very, very easy to find. Alrighty. So we got quite a few things going on. And shout out to you guys for being here. Couldn't do it without you. Shout out to you guys from all over the country. I see you guys shouting out where you are, whether you are in the U.S. or abroad. I thank you for being here. We got quite a few things to talk about. Oh, we got to talk about the Blaze Summit. That was a pretty big thing. That was most certainly pretty big. But we have a lot going on. A lot of these climate activists acting the fool. I mean, what is really going on? Like climate activists, I understand that you really, really, you really, really want to help your cause, I suppose. You really want to help your cause, but at a certain point, you're not helping. You're just looking silly. All right, you're looking silly out here, and it's ridiculous. One thing that they're doing, when I say they, I mean the climate activists, one thing that they're doing, they're gluing themselves to concrete, literally. Like they're bonding their hands to the concrete. Now, my question is, what is the intended result of that? You want to stop traffic permanently? Okay, well, if the traffic stops permanently and no cars are going, like that's somehow the biggest source of carbon emission, right? Like we don't have all these factories over in China and India making your iPhones and your fancy clothes and your shoes, pumping up the carbon in the atmosphere and polluting all the rivers, right? We're not worried about that. We're worried about cars and whatnot in Germany, UK, and USA. If you glue yourself to the ground, what is going to happen after? Like, let's say you stop the traffic. Okay, but you're still on the ground. I mean, you're still a human being. You still got to eat food. You still got to, go to the bathroom. You still got to be able to, you can't just sit on the ground for the rest of your life. So what is going to happen after you glue yourself to the ground? What is your life going to be like? Now, in case you were wondering what happens, all right, let's check it out. My man over in Germany, we got some Germans doing this. All right. We have some Germans doing this. Now, check it out. This is a tweet from Reuters, and the caption says, an activist glued his hand to a street in Munich to protest against the German government's climate change policies. Look at this right here. Do you see this freeze frame? This is real. This is not a parody. This is on Reuters. This is a real video. My man has his hand like he's about to serve some beer in Applebee's, Chili's, Cheddar's, some family restaurant, right? He has his hand at an angle, and he has a hunk of asphalt, a hunk of the ground attached to his hand. It's like, sir, you're going to have to amputate that. How are you going to get that off of your hand? I mean, you're able to kind of be freed from the ground, but now you got a permanent cement pizza, a permanent cement server tray, a permanent leaflet, a permanent binder, a permanent book bag attached to the palm of your hand. That's crazy. Let's check it out. Let's get a little bit of sound, actually. And I have another video where it's even better. Let's check it out. And this guy is kind of old. Like this is not a young person. This guy might be like right around my age. It's like, my man, why? Why would you do this? Yo, I know this got to hurt. I mean, his hand is trembling. Look at his fingers. Yo, you're going to have that hand amputated. He's waving at people like, what? Why? Can we interview this guy? Can we interview him like Joe Rogan after you get beat down, right? You about to be bleeding from your head and everything. So how did it feel to get punched in the face by Mike Tyson at age 19 in 1987? How did that feel when all your teeth fell out of your head? It'd be the same thing with this guy. How does it feel to have a hunk of the ground affixed to your hand that cannot come off anytime soon? What kind of compound can they pour on that to get it free? I don't think he can. Okay, they're not gonna have actual sound. It's just like music. No, I do hear some sound. Drilling. So, Climate Initiative Last Generation says activists carried out protest actions in 26 cities. Now, look, is this what I'm talking about? How easy is it to convince grown people, not even kids? I'm talking about people in their 30s, guys that got kids and everything else. How easy is it to convince these people to glue themselves to the ground? This is that Jim Jones drink the Kool-Aid type situation. People are at a certain point like sheep, and it's unfortunate. You guys are not like sheep. You guys are very smart, and we need to wake the other sheep up. Wake the lemmings up before they hop off the edge of the cliff. My man right here is getting drug up. So in Koblenz, a motorist took matters into his own hands. My man is dragging the guy off the ground. Now, luckily, the guy he's dragging is not affixed to the floor. Okay, luckily, that's not the case. And he's just able to get, the little drag action from the ground into the sidewalk. That's good. So, okay. In Berlin, activists wore masks to look like government figures. That's screeching. That sounds like a rooster in the morning. That's like, hey, if you ever had like a rooster outside of your house and you wake up in the morning, that is the exact sound that they make. But that was a human being making that noise. That's crazy. So the federal cabinet recently approved changes on how it will do the math around sector CO2 emission limits. I don't speak German. Rohrbrücken Deutsch Getz. I don't know how to pronounce. I don't know what that means. You guys that speak German, y'all let me know. Critics say it takes pressure off the lagging transport sector. I mean, sitting on the ground wearing the mask to look like a government figure, what is that really going to do? Other than just annoy people and really just get in the way. Okay, so my man right here has the asphalt glued to his hand. This guy's got to be about 35 years old, looking like he's an investment banker or something like that. Okay, but I have another video. I have, literally, exactly. Okay, the rooster screech is crazy, but I have another video. My man right here is literally getting hammered out of the ground. And listen to what he's saying. Oh, scheiße, like 999. Check it out. Hold on. Let's go ahead and get that rocking.
Ich bin nicht mal an seinem Finger und das macht er mit Absicht, um aufmerksam zu machen. Überhaupt keine Scheiße. Gucken Sie mal Ihren Kollegen. Ja, aber das kann schon passieren. Ihr tut es zum Beispiel auch. Also da ist
So, if you can't see what's going on, the caption says a German climate activist screams in pain as workers try to remove his hand glued to the road.
Hört sie auf! Verdammt nochmal! Ich bin nicht mal an seinem Finger und das macht er mit Absicht, um aufmerksam zu machen. Überhaupt keine Scheiße.
My man, taking your Kango hat off is not going to make the situation any better. Why are you acting like they're doing something wrong? You didn't want to glue yourself to the ground. Nobody put you at gunpoint and made you affix your hand to the ground, okay, to the asphalt. Nobody made you. You did that on your own. So why are you over here screaming and carrying on Like, what is really happening?
Ja, aber das kann schon passieren. Hier tut es zum Beispiel auch. Also da ist halt spannend.
Oh ha ha, that's hilarious. Is that how we screaming in Germany? Is that how the Germans sound when they getting beat up? Like, imagine that in the boxing ring. That's crazy. I'm not trying to hear those sounds. I'm gonna go there and just forfeit the match if I'm hearing that on the opposite side. You punching them in the head in the sparring match. Oh ha, anybody trying to hear that, man. So yeah, that's what's going on right now in Germany. So shout out to all the Germans that don't believe in that nonsense, who are not woke like that. Okay, shout out to my man that was dragging the young person or the 28-year-old. Shout out to that guy for dragging that guy off the road and allowing the traffic to continue. All right. Oh, is that what that means? Is that a curse word? Oh, so no cursing. I gotta put some money in the curse jar. I didn't know what that word meant. So yeah, the climate activists, I don't even understand what they're doing. It's so silly because what are you really gonna do about the sun? You can't control the sun. The sun can just change and then the whole world changes and you can't do anything about it. And in the 1970s, they said it was global cooling and they were trying to nuke the polar ice caps to loosen up glaciers. And they were trying to do that in the 70s. Then it became global warming. And then you had periods of extreme cold, snow, all of that. Like, here's an example. Being from Virginia Beach area, when I was a kid, 80s, 90s, it would never, ever snow. Never snow. It'd be a rare snow. And if it did snow, it'd be like a little light flurry. It'd rarely ever snow. Once we got into like the 2010s, it started to snow all the time. And then it got to the point where it'd be deep snow. You get snowed in to your house. It's like, what's going on with this? So is that global warming, global cooling? What they're going to say is when there's an adverse weather event, which is always going to be adverse weather events, the weather won't be the exact same every single year. You have generalities, you have seasons, you have cold, hot, rainy, dry. You have that generally. But there may be some extremes here and there. So whenever an extreme weather event happens, they say, oh, it's climate change. We can't say it's global warming or global cooling. We're just saying that whenever the weather gets a little bit weird or different or slightly abnormal, it's because the climate is changing. It's because we got cows farting and because we got vehicles on the road emitting carbon in the USA and Western Europe. But we're not worried about China. We're not worried about India. We're not worried about Southeast Asia, where all the carbon emission coming from. We're not worried about those factories over there. We got pumping out clothes and shoes and cars and cell phones. We're not worried about that. We're not worried about Foxconn with the suicide nets outside the window so your iPhone could get made for next to no money. We're not worried about that. We're worried about cows farting in the USA. And speaking about climate change, John Kerry is like Al Gore and Greta Thunberg. And John Kerry did not like some questioning about his private jet. Oh, he didn't like that because check it out. If you are a climate activist, as John Kerry could be considered, or you are a climate change expert or spokesperson, how are you going to be that and then at the same time be flying around the world on a private jet? Like the lady from last week I showed you. Remember the lady that flew private to a climate conference, got in the vehicle, like in a convoy, like 2 or 3 limos, got out of the limo and then rode a bike a very short way from point A to point B for the cameras, for the media, to wave at the media. Hey, look, I'm zero carbon. I'm riding a bicycle. Yeah, but you got on a private jet to get there. You got on a private jet to get there. And you were riding in the big gas guzzling armored limo to get from the jet where it landed to right here. Then you got out of the limo and rode a bike a very short distance, like a few feet. The dumbest thing in the world. But John Kerry didn't like that too much. All right. He did not like that. Let me see if I can find a particular clip. And if you like what you're hearing so far, please give the video a thumbs up. Like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. That'll help me out tremendously. All right, let's check it out. Now, here's something that I favorited. It's a short clip. Now, the caption says, John Kerry is speaking. John Kerry, I've personally never owned a private jet, but check it out. The Kerry family owned a Gulfstream GIVSP. So he says, well, I never owned it, but my family did, and I would ride in it maybe once or twice. I don't know. That's very disingenuous. Very, very disingenuous. If they ask me, hey, have you ever owned a private jet ABL? Nah, man, I don't know nothing about that. Yeah, my family owned it. It's like Rick James, where they ask, did you grind your feet into what's my name? Eddie Murphy's couch? It's like, nah, I never did that. Why would I do that? Yeah, I did it. That's John Kerry right here. Let's check it out.
I just don't agree with your facts, which began with the presentation of one of the most outrageously persistent lies that I hear, which is this private jet. We don't own a private jet. I don't own a private jet. I personally have never owned a private jet. And obviously, it's pretty stupid to talk about coming in a private jet from the State Department up here. It just, honestly, if that's where you want to go there.
Why is that stupid? I mean, if you're talking about climate change, if you bout it, then be about it. See, that right there lets me know that he's not really serious. If you're really about this whole climate change thing and you're trying to reduce carbon and you're trying to make laws that I have to follow that say I got to have, a electric vehicle, all kind of dumb stuff. You know, the funny part about electric vehicles, as I've said before, they're trying to reduce the carbon footprint by having electric vehicles. And then they say to West Virginia people like myself, many others, they'll say to us, when they close the coal mines, learn the code, right? The funny part is when they have electric vehicles, that's going to increase demand for coal because electricity comes from the grid and the grid is powered by coal largely. Yeah, it ain't powered by fairy dust. So if you're going to have a higher strain on the grid by having electric cars plugged up to it, you're going to have more coal. So you're talking about learning the code. You say that while at the same time you create more coal mining jobs. It's all of it. It's all so dumb. It is all so dumb. Seriously. All right. Now, was there a longer version of that? I think there might have been. Let's see.
Mr. Secretary, in exchange with Mr. Mills, you just testified under oath that you never owned a private jet. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to enter into the record article here from February 15th of 2023 that the John Kerry family private jet was sold shortly after accusations of climate hypocrisy.
Oh, there it is right there. So the Kerry family had a private jet and then they sold it because climate hypocrisy. And even if John Kerry does not own it, it doesn't mean he can't fly on one. You know, he could easily, somebody said it right there. If not a private jet, how about a public jet? Okay, how do you get from point A to point B? How do you go to all these conferences all over the world? You're not going to get in the pontoon. You're not going to get in a paddle boat. You're not going to get on some rubber dinghy. You're going to fly on the first class, the best first class experience that money can buy. Okay, that's what you're going to do. I've never seen John Kerry and Hartsfield Jackson lugging around some luggage. Okay, he's not going to do that. But then they'll tell me, hey, man, you can't have no Toyota Tundra. That's too much for you. But I'm going to see you in a minute. I'm gonna get on this PJ right quick. I'm going to get on this jet with like 8 passengers and fly from JFK to London. That's what I'm going to do. That is Washington, D.C. for you.
Mr. Secretary, do you stand by that testimony that you've never owned or
I personally,
your family?
Personally, yes. My wife owned a plane and sold.
Okay. See, there you go. Yeah, I didn't know my wife owned a plane, but so what? I mean, come on. That's nothing, right? I mean, yeah, my wife owned a plane. Yeah, we've been married for the past million years. Yes, my wife is of the Hines dynasty, and she's a multi-billionaire herself. But look, check it out. Don't worry about that. Keep your eyes on the prize, okay? The sun, the climate, coal, it's all bad. Did you hear that? Nah, I didn't, but my wife did. Really? Come on. Hold on. One more time if you didn't hear it.
Testimony that you've never owned or
I personally,
your family?
By
your family?
Personally, yes. My wife owned a plane and sold the plane.
You flew on that plane?
not in a number of years.
And
this article,
I flew in it, but yeah, that's a long time ago, man. I flew in back in like before the pandemic, man. Don't worry about that. Yeah, I was talking about climate change and flying in my wife's private plane. Man, come on, be for real. Y'all married, that's marital property. That's yours. Don't even, why? See, that's what I'm talking about. I despise, I don't want to say hate, but I might as well. I despise these politicians that get on here and just tell straight lies like that. That was an outright lie. I never owned one. My wife did. I never owned a house when my wife owned a house, and I lived in it for 25 years, but I never owned a house. She did. Okay, I never owned a car. My wife did, and I would always drive it every day, and I put 100,000 miles on it, but I never owned it.
It was not then inaccurate that your family owned a plane, you flew on a plane.
My wife
Mr.
owned,
Secretary,
my wife owned a plane.
here's the issue.
Yeah.
This isn't some kind of partisan gotcha. When we are asking Americans to make serious sacrifices as we transition for the common good, and your family and or yourself are flying around on private jets, that smacks of hypocrisy. It actually hurts your cause, Mr. Secretary, but I'll move on. I just want to know from a record standpoint.
Afford me the right, at least, to set the record straight here. I do not fly on a private jet. I do not fly. I fly commercially.
Have you
on
flown
all
on
of
a
my
private jet since
okay.
you've taken?
I've never seen this man in no Hartsfield Jackson, JFK, LAX. Come on, be for real. And does it even matter? You're still flying around. Like, planes are some of the biggest gas guzzlers. Like, they are the biggest gas guzzling vehicle in the world. And you fly all around the world. So just spare the hypocrisy, please. If you want to really be about that climate change life, I want you to get in a boat with no gas power, no coal, no nothing. Get in there and paddle with your bare arms and legs. Okay, do something like that. Then I'll be impressed. But until then, you just like the rest of us. So when you try to lobby for laws that would prevent us from being able to travel, that'll put taxes on our travel, that'll put taxes on the carbon that we consume to go from point A to point B, it's hypocritical.
In this position.
Just let me just finish. I have flown 5 times in the last 2.5 years on Millair, which you also fly on,
Sure.
or some of you who travel fly on, 5 times. Otherwise, all of my trips are commercial
Have you
airlines.
flown on a private jet in a personal or official capacity since you've taken this position?
Possibly once. I'm trying to think of
I think you need to take the broader point of how this appears to the American people
no,
as we're asking them to take that.
Let me tell you why.
We're
not asking Americans. We're not asking Americans not to fly. You're trying to create an unequal thing. We're not saying
we're asking
don't
you
fly.
to lead by example, Mr. Secretary. That's what we're at.
Which is why I fly
others to lead
commercially.
by example.
Which is why I fly.
In that vein, does your office or the State Department keep a record of your official travel and scheduled meetings?
Of course.
Does that include the individuals you're scheduled to meet with? Can you provide those records to Congress? Will you provide those records to Congress?
There's more there, but you get the general idea of what's going on. John Kerry, look, man, if you want to ride around private, commercial, whatever, burning up gasoline all over the place, emitting that harmful carbon in the atmosphere, all right. But don't try to lobby for things that are going to restrict my ability to do so. You're talking about you travel private sometimes, commercial sometimes. A lot of Americans never been on the plane before at all. A lot of your normies have never flown before at all. They've not stepped foot on an airplane. But you want to make laws that are going to impact their life. You, on the other hand, can consume more carbon than them, and it's fine. Anyway. Shout out to the politicians out there. Y'all know how they operate. It is what it is. If you like what you're hearing so far, please give the video a thumbs up. Like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. That'll help me out tremendously. And we have much more to get into. Now, where are we going to continue? I think I may have more videos for you guys. And then we'll get into some of the deeper topics. We got to get into the the Blaze Summit. We'll get to that in just a very short period of time. So y'all please hang tight. And yeah, it was complete word salad. He owned a super yacht as well. So you own a super yacht. Your wife used to own a plane before she got called out for it. But hey, man, regular normies, y'all got to do whatever you got to do with. And speaking to politicians, did you see your man Joe Biden? Like, this guy, there's so much going on here. The parents, okay, hold on. Now, look at this. So Joe Biden doing what he always does, sniffing kids. This is Helsinki, Finland. Now, the child is going to look really scared right here. And then keep an eye on what the parents are doing or what the adults that are around this child are doing.
His trip overseas, just leaving Finland.
Now, what was that? Did you see this? Like, what is he doing to the little girl?
Trip overseas, just leaving Finland a short time ago on his way back from the United States.
Look at the little girl's face. Terrified. Terrified.
More analysis on his performance on the world.
And then there go the sniff. The mom right here, or whoever that is, the meemaw, the mom, the aunt, somebody is in her phone, not even worried about what's going on.
World stage.
And the dad is too.
And that is.
See, did you see at the end? Man got his phone up. They acting like ain't nothing going on. Please be aware of what's happening with your children. Please be aware. I mean.
His trip over.
Now, is that appropriate? Can you do stuff like this? Is that okay? Can you imagine if Trump would do something like that to a child or to anybody, but definitely a little kid? Can you imagine what it would be? But I guess because it's Joe Biden. Look, if your last name is Biden, you could do whatever you want. Sniffing little kids, smoke crack. You could bring crack in the White House, do whatever you want. Oh, and speaking of crack smoking and whatnot in the White House, did you guys hear that they found, I think it was 3 baggies of cocaine? First, it just found some white substance, right? Oh, it was a white powder. We call it hazmat, all this, that, and the third. Then it was in one place, then the other place, and then the other place. And then they said it was 3 baggies of cocaine. So we got a trafficker in the White House. Somebody is getting, it was clearly Hunter's stash, allegedly. 3 bags of cocaine on a Friday. He probably left it, and they found it on Sunday when they were doing the sweep of the little cubicles.
Overseas, just leaving.
This guy's a mess. It's like, why would you do that to somebody's kids? Like, nah, we're not doing that. I don't care who you are. I don't care if your name is Joe Biden or Joe Blow. You're not going to be doing that to these children. Okay, it's just not happening. But hey, if you're Joe Biden, you can do whatever you want. All right. As a matter of fact, let me see if I can find that story about the bags. Let me see. About the different bags of cocaine. I think that was a story that I had saved. Let me see if I can find that right quick. Yeah, exactly. Sharing that light form, 3 bags. Well, that explains why they kept finding it in different places. Yeah, the bags may have been spread around. They may not have been just in one spot. They may have been here, there, and everywhere. They say, oh, we found it in the cubby. We found it on the ground. We found it over here, over there. It probably was spread throughout the White House. I mean, when you got a crackhead like Hunter Biden, you might just leave all your cocaine and all your supplies and everything all over the place, like a child. You know, they want to speak about him like he's a child. This man has adult children, Hunter Biden. He's in his 50s. He's in his early 50s. He's old enough to be a grandpa. He is not a boy. He's a fully grown man beyond middle age. Okay. But the way they speak about him, oh, he's a president's son. Leave him alone. He's got a substance abuse problems. This man is fully grown, fully able to know what's right and what's wrong. And if you can't figure it out by now, and he's not going to figure it out, it's just that simple. It is just that simple. Let me see if I can find more here. And if you like what you're hearing so far, please give the video a thumbs up, like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. That'll help me out tremendously. All right. I can't find that the story about the different bags, but I wouldn't be surprised. All right. Yeah, 3 bags. Came White House. Let me see. Yeah, I can't find that, but I will find it. I shall find it. But yeah, Secret Service says, we didn't find anything. No fingerprints. No nothing. We didn't find anything. We just couldn't find it. Complete BS. A total cover up. And this is why people don't believe anything the government says. This is why they don't trust the government, why they don't believe the government. We know that the cocaine had to belong to somebody. We know that they were able to detect it. They said that they tried to get some weed in the White House before, but before the weed got into the interior, past the security, because, matter of fact, hold on. I'm gonna try to play this video right here. This might be better for me to comment on, because the whole thing was crazy. Let me just go ahead and throw it up right here. You see the headline, no fingerprints, DNA sample or leads from cocaine found at the White House. I don't believe it. This is the same government Secret Service that said that it might have been anthrax. We don't know if it's cocaine or not. They said that after it had already tested positive for cocaine. The fire department went to the White House, tested it, and it popped positive for cocaine right there, right on the scene. Then what did they say in the White House? Oh, we don't know what it is. What do you mean you don't know what it is? They did a test right there and it popped positive. What are we talking about? Like they were trying to cover it up at that point. Hold on, let's check this out. Is there any sound here? I guess not. It's just a little.
I'm Colleen Long, and I cover the White House for the Associated Press. The FBI crime lab did sophisticated DNA testing and also fingerprint analysis on the baggie of cocaine found at the White House and turned up nothing. Surveillance footage uncovered no promising leads. So right now, Secret Service doesn't know who brought the cocaine to the White House. Secret Service agents found the bag July 2nd while they were doing routine checks at the White House. It was located in an area of the West Wing where staff come in and out.
Now, check it out. I wanted to show this part right here. Okay, see this little entrance right here? That may not be the right entrance. It don't really make a difference. This picture is really irrelevant, but I'm gonna make a point. In order to get to any of the White House entrances, meaning the door that goes into the actual White House, you have to go through an exterior perimeter to even get right here. There's checkpoints. You're going through at least 2 different checkpoints before you get to any door that leads you right into the White House. So when they're trying to say, oh, well, it was a door that it's a working entrance and people go in there all the time, they're not telling you the full story. They're not telling you that you got to go through other doors to get to that door. I've been in the White House. I've been inside the White House 3 times, and that's the way it is. Before you get to an actual door that is affixed to the actual White House that allows you to gain entry into the building, you got to go through at least 2 different checkpoints. And they're going to go, it's like TSA. You're not going to bring no drugs in the White House. Before, like it might have been in 2020, some moron tried to bring weed in the White House, but they were prevented from doing so because it was detected at the checkpoints. You see what I'm saying? And that is the point. If you could detect weed at the checkpoints, you can detect cocaine at the checkpoints. And the reason why it was not is because it was somebody that had access to go beyond the checkpoints. Like, I don't know, a family member, Hunter Biden, who already had a history of cocaine abuse. See what I'm saying? Like, these stories they're trying to spin are so bogus. Nobody believes them anymore. Nobody believes any of this stuff anymore.
Very frequently, and also tours go through. And the president and his family were not at the White House at the time. They were at Camp David for the holiday week.
Yeah, whatever. Okay, but I wanted to make my point. And who was that lady that got talking for AP? Can we get like a regular news person? I mean, come on. Like, what was the point? Just not even don't even have the video. You might as well had a robot or something like that talking. It's kind of pointless. If she writes the articles, that's fine. Let her be the penman and leave it there. Let her be the author, the authoress, or whatever they want to say nowadays in 2023. Why is she speaking? I don't understand. But anyway, I digress. So yeah, they found the cocaine. We know who it belongs to, but they don't want to say because it's a cover up as usual. They are still investigating Joe Biden on the, 10 for the big guy, all that good stuff. Now, will anything come of that? I doubt it. Okay, they're getting, and the documents. Yeah, they're still investigating Joe Biden for the documents that he had in his garage on videotape that were just loose. And Joe Biden should not have had documents at all. Trump could have had documents because he was the president. He can declassify them. Now, whether he did or not is up for debate. But he has the ability to take documents and declassify them. What he did is normally never prosecuted because the president can do stuff like that. It's just kind of a waste of time. Why would you bring somebody to trial and try to prosecute them over a thing that's kind of murky at best? If you're the president, you could take classified documents, which wasn't even the original copy. They had the documents in the White House, but they wanted the copies back for some reason. Dumb stuff. Anyway, you could take that stuff as the president and declassify it. So there's no purpose in arguing over whether it was or was not declassified. There was no real harm done by what he did. So normally they don't prosecute Hillary Clinton, allowing the classified emails to get on a laptop with Anthony Weiner. This guy had all kind of stuff on that laptop. This guy had that laptop. That laptop, you need to spray that laptop off with some disinfectant. that laptop was nasty. And she had classified emails on the laptop, email server in the house. The FBI director, James Comey, got on television and said, there's enough here to prosecute her. He said that right before the election. It was the November surprise. There's enough there to prosecute her, but we're not going to do it. It wouldn't be reasonable. But they're going to do it to Trump. Now, the same grace is being given to Joe Biden. You see, it's all a game. It is all a big game. But if you like what you're hearing so far, please give the video a thumbs up, like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. That'll help me out tremendously. And we got quite a few more things to get through. Where are we going to go next? Oh yeah, did you guys see the little boy that got into a police chase? Look, when I was 8 years old, this boy was 8 years old, carjacked somebody, had a gun. Look, he had a gun, carjacked somebody, broad daylight, early in the morning, 11 a.m. He got caught riding around in the vehicle. He picked up two adults in the middle of him having a stolen car that he carjacked. He's 8 years old. When I was 8 years old, even in the so-called hood or whatever you want to call it, I'm trying to be the good kid. I did not know anybody that ever carjacked anybody at that age. All right. I didn't know. I never heard about a thing like that happening. I was just trying to watch X-Men and play video games and my toys and stuff like that, reading Goosebumps books. I'm trying to be a little boy. At 8 years old, you were in the third grade. You're in the third grade. You going to book fairs. You're being a little kid, going outside playing, roll around in the dirt, that type of thing. You're not carjacking people. Look, if you carjacking somebody at 8 years old, your parents have failed. Your parents have failed. Why would you even be in that mind to do such a thing? You might be a rambunctious child, but you're going to do stuff like you might break something in the house, running around the house, acting crazy, and you bump into some kind of bookshelf and the vase falls and you get in trouble or something like that. Maybe you get into a little bit of a fight or somebody's, you wrestling outside with a next door neighbor, something small. But carjacking, if you're doing that at 8 years old, you're pretty much doomed. It's pretty much how can there be any redeeming quality? Exactly. RRH says at 8 years old, I was eating dirt and playing with my army men. Exactly. Yeah, right there. Exactly. Okay, the little slip and slide outside when it's a hot summer day, something like that. You just being rambunctious, but that doesn't mean pulling your gun and carjacking somebody at 8 years old. You're done at that age. They say that if you can't read by the time you get to be the fourth grade at a on grade level, you're finished. You're never going to be able to catch up. And I'm sure that if you are out there carjacking people at 8 years old, you don't know how to read. There's no way that you can read well and at the same time be carjacking at 8 years old. It's impossible. It's impossible because learning how to read requires a little bit of patience. It requires parents that care about you. It requires an environment and a circumstance that allows you to flourish, to read and read well on grade level or beyond it at that age. It requires a little bit. I'm not saying it's the hardest thing to do in the world, but typically, if you got people that are engaging in criminality at an early age, education is not a thing that matters to them at all. Let's go ahead and check out the video in case you haven't seen it. All right, hold on. Let's go ahead and check it out right quick.
Montgomery leads to a police chase, and tonight NPD says the person responsible is an 8-year-old boy.
What's more, police say that child driver was also armed and is now accused of a carjacking that was caught on video.
A witness captured this video of the child driving off in the stolen car. We spoke to that person about what he saw. Anchor Sally Pitts with his firsthand account and new information from police.
Hey, Google. Call the Montgomery Police Department.
Witness video shows what police say is an 8-year-old driving a stolen car. The witness said he saw the child hit another car and then drive off.
Look at this. Did you see this? Look at this. A little boy they're arresting for carjacking. This is a little kid. This is crazy.
Car and then drive off.
I just naturally kind of wanted to follow him because I didn't think it was right for him to just get away with hitting someone. But as I was following him, I realized at some point it was a little boy.
Nah, he didn't. He didn't. The person did not let him take the car. He carjacked. Carjacking means that he had a gun and he forcibly took the car from somebody. That's what carjacking means. It says it right here. 8-year-old arrested after armed carjacking and a police chase.
The witness said he continued to follow the car, and at one point it turned onto the boulevard going in the wrong direction.
Yeah, he picked up some adults on Norman Bridge Road. It was 2 guys, and they just wanted a ride to, I think, American Deli. And so I followed them there. I kind of kept my distance.
The witness called police, who tried to pull over the child. Officers say he refused to stop. During the chase, police say the 8-year-old driver crashed in the area of West Fairview Avenue and South Court Street. No one was hurt, but this witness fears it could have ended differently.
Yeah, I think parents don't get involved in their kids' lives enough anymore. It's not 100% their fault, but I think parents really just need to know where the kids are, what the kids are doing.
Police say they did recover a gun. Of course, the 8-year-old.
So yeah, they found it. They found a pistol. That video got kind of chopped up right there, but you get the idea of what's going on. They found a pistol. The man was carjacked. This little boy was carjacking. He's in a juvenile hall right now. He cannot be tried as an adult, I don't think, in any state. I don't think you could be charged as an adult at 8 years old. In Virginia, if he was 14, he could be tried as an adult. But no, 8 years old, he'll be in juvenile hall for a certain period of time. You got all kind of charges. You got a gun charge. You got stealing the car, police chase, resisting arrest, all that. There's no way you do something like that at such a young age without being groomed by gangs and or your parents. There's no other way. How do you know how to do any of that kind of stuff? And someone said you can't be smart, you can't be dumb and carjack. Yes, you can be dumb and carjack. If you're carjacking, that means you're dumb. I mean, knowing how to drive a vehicle is not that difficult. Know how to use a gun is not that difficult to use a gun. But what's dumb is do something like that, broad daylight, and be kind of like going the speed limit. Like you're going to get caught. You're not, I don't know. But yeah, whoever is raising that boy or not raising that boy is their fault. There's no other way you do something like that without some kind of outside influence or lack of influence. That is the only way that happens. The only way. But if you like what you're hearing so far, please give the video a thumbs up. Like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. That'll help me out tremendously. Oh yeah, definitely the parents should be, the parents probably don't even exist. The parents probably not even around. The dad probably locked up or in jail, locked up or dead. The mom is probably the same thing. The grandparents, who knows what they doing. Grandparents can't take care of no rambunctious 8-year-old. You probably got the street life involved, and they're making them do certain things. And now you have what you have in front of you. That is probably what's going on here. Yeah, it's a whole big mess. Now, okay, we got to get to the summit. The summit was very, very interesting. This was an event put on by the Blaze Media, and our guy, Tucker Carlson, was the host. This was amazing. I'm gonna tell you something about Tucker and Blaze. What they did with the summit, I've not seen anything quite like it. I've not seen Fox do anything like this or any other network do anything like this. I think the future of political events will be off of mainstream media. And I can't wait for it, really, because the problem with mainstream media is that it's sanitized, it's advertiser friendly, it's a lot of it's really influenced by the political world. An example would be how Karine Jean-Pierre is married to or is partners with Suzanne Malveaux from CNN. There's a lot of that going on when you had Chris Cuomo, who was Andrew Cuomo's brother. And at the time, Chris was on CNN as an anchor, and Andrew was the governor of New York. It's a lot of that type of stuff going on. So you're going to get a lot of biased stories, a lot of leftist preference, because, all right, your sister or your boyfriend or your domestic partner works at the network that is covering you, okay? So if CNN is covering the White House and they're covering Karine Jean-Pierre, why would there ever be anything negative about Karine Jean-Pierre when Suzanne Malveaux works at CNN? It's so many little ties like that. It's crazy. It's totally crazy. And once you get off of mainstream media, off of the big networks, that kind of stuff is less prominent. And if it does exist on the alternative media, they don't hide it. They're open with it. I'd rather you be open with that fact rather than trying to hide it, talking about, oh, we're fair and balanced and we don't take sides. It's all BS. Whatever you do, just be honest. And let's be on the same page that way. Let's be on the same page that way. All right. But we got quite a bit to get through when we're talking about the summit. There was a lot here. So you had quite a few people that were at the summit, a few candidates. No Trump, unfortunately. I think Trump had his own thing going on elsewhere in Iowa. But check it out. So here you have Tucker as a host, Ron DeSantis, Nikki Haley, Vivek Ramaswamy, Tim Scott, and Mike Pence. And also Asa Hutchinson, he was there. I think there might have been some more. Now, Asa Hutchinson did not do well. He bombed. Glenn Beck said it was like the Hindenburg disaster. And Glenn Beck obviously is the head honcho over at the Blaze. He said it was like the Hindenburg disaster. It was really bad because Asa Hutchinson was talking about gender reassignment surgery being a valid form of treatment for children. Just random, ridiculous stuff he was saying. Tim Scott was talking about Ukraine and that being the good thing. Nikki Haley, same thing, talking about Ukraine being the good thing. DeSantis did okay. DeSantis, I like, but what's happening with him is that he's becoming more sanitized. He's getting advice from your Jeb Bush type people of the world. And by the way, before I get to the summit, did you guys see that Jeb might want to run again? Did you guys see that? Hold on. I'm gonna go right back to the summit, but I gotta find out about Jeb. Hold on. I think I saw what I saw. Maybe I did. Maybe I didn't. Let me see. Hold on. I gotta find it. Okay, hold on. Oh, no. Okay, I'm tripping. Okay. I thought he was going to run, but no, he's not. He's not. I don't think he's going to run. If Jeb Bush runs, I'll be like, man, sir, we're not going to clap. It's not going to happen. Don't do it to yourself. But anyway, going back to DeSantis, he's getting a lot of the Jeb Bush type interaction and consultation, but it doesn't work too well. Ramaswamy did okay. He did pretty well. He gave good answers. He is a very good speaker and a smart guy, Ramaswamy. But I can't put my finger on it. It's something about him that's not really going the right way for me. I don't know what it is. Okay, I don't care about race or anything like that, obviously. But it's something about him that kind of I just can't really put my finger on. Mike Pence has no chance. I don't know why he's running, to be totally honest, because he's damaged goods, unfortunately, or fortunately, however you want to look at it. Okay, you were the vice president under Trump, and that ended under bad terms. So you're not going to be able to use that cachet to your advantage. That's not going to help you. So what do you have that can help you? How can you really bring something to the table? Are you anti-foreign intervention? No. You support the Ukraine war, as far as I know. What are you really going to bring to the table that others do not? I don't understand. I don't really get it. Out of this group that's right here on the screen before you, I think Ramaswamy has the best chance out of this group. But of course, the big dog is Trump, who was not at the actual summit because he had his own event going on. But we're going to get to that in a minute. Let me go back to I'm going to load up some of the clips from the actual event. I got quite a few. I have some from Tim Scott. I got some from Hutchinson, Asa Hutchinson. I got some from a little bit of everybody. All right. Oh, and one thing that he revealed is that he did not get the vax. Speaking about Tucker himself, did not get the vax. I thought that was pretty interesting that he didn't get vaccinated. Because the thing about the vax over at Fox, I heard it was a requirement to be there. But I guess if you're Tucker Carlson, you could kind of just get around that. It's not really a big of a deal. If you're the big guy, the big man on campus, you could do whatever you want, right? That might be how that goes. All right. So let's keep on going here. If you like what you're hearing so far, please give the video a thumbs up, like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. That'll help me out tremendously. And Mike Pence said something here that kind of got misunderstood, but I don't think it was that misunderstood. I think what he said was pretty clear. And we're going to get into it, shall we? We shall. All right. So here's your man Pence talking about J6. Was it an insurrection?
Do better, that's for sure. So I have to ask you, since you were a witness to and in some unintentional way a participant in one of the most widely covered events in American history, January 6th, what was that? Do you think that was an insurrection?
Well, first, can I just take a moment just to say thank you to the family leader, to Bob Vanderplatz and the whole team here, and to our friends at Blaze TV, including my old friend Glenn Beck. We're standing here on a historic day in Iowa, when in just a few short hours, Governor Kim Reynolds would take to this stage and sign into law historic protections for the unborn. And I think all the members of the family leader here in Iowa prayed and worked and fought to bring us to this day. And it's an honor to be with you all. It really is.
Okay, that was very well done, but January 6th, insurrection or not? Great words, he said. I don't have anything wrong with the words he said, but the question is still the question.
Now, as to that day, let me just say, all I know for sure, having lived through it at the Capitol, is that it was a tragic day. I've never used the word insurrection, Tucker, over the last 2 years, but it was a riot that took place at the Capitol that day. I saw firsthand where they'd evacuated us down to the loading dock below the Senate chamber, police officers that, as the day wore on, were streaming through 150 law enforcement officers that were assaulted. Obviously, the tragic loss of life ransacking the Capitol that occurred. But I really do believe that a day of tragedy became a triumph of freedom. And I'll always believe that by God's grace, I did my duty that day under the Constitution of the United States of America, and our institutions held.
When you say the tragic loss of life, who are you referring to?
Well, obviously, Ashley Babbitt would come to mind immediately.
What do you think of the fact that she was shot?
Well, I just think it was a tragic moment.
Okay, there we have his take on J6. Now, here we go with Ukraine. Now, Ukraine is a hot topic, and I think how you answer the Ukraine question would be how I vote for you, or that'd be a big part of the way I vote for you. If you say that Ukraine is a good thing and we're trying to weaken Russia, all this and that, and the third, you lost my vote. It's not going to happen.
Thank you for that. You've issued a bunch of public statements about your views on foreign policy, which are definitely within the mainstream of Republican views, as far as I can tell. You recently met with Zelensky, according to news reports. And I'm wondering if during that meeting, as a prominent Christian leader, which you are in addition to your political views, you broached the question of his treatment of Christians within Ukraine. The Zelensky government has raided convents, arrested priests, has effectively banned a denomination, a Christian denomination, the Ukrainian Orthodox Church within Ukraine, has persecuted Christians. And I wonder if you raised that with him.
I did raise the issue when we were there. And I raised it with the leader of the Orthodox Church when I was visiting Kyiv, and asked him about concerns about religious liberty. He assured me that the Zelensky government in Ukraine was respecting religious liberty, even while recognizing that there were very small elements of the Russian Orthodox Church that were being utilized for the purpose of advancing the Russian cause.
Can I say one thing? I've said it before, but Russia, Ukraine, Belarus, all the same people. Kiev and Rus, back in the day, one nation. Then Kiev, Ukraine, that was like the main place. Then they go out to Moscow to settle that to further, their reach. And then that became one thing, and then Ukraine became something else. But really, it's the same people. It's the same people. And they're fighting each other because of outside forces that want to utilize Ukraine to be a NATO outpost to try and put Russia in check. So Russia sees it coming. They know what's happening. So they have no other choice than to invade Ukraine to prevent them from becoming part of NATO. They're talking about they want Ukraine to be part of NATO, but that ain't going to happen as long as Russia's attacking it. If Russia was not invading Ukraine, then Ukraine would be part of NATO. They even said it. They were like, we're not going to allow them to become part of NATO while there's a war going on. If not for the war, then Ukraine's part of NATO. And that would be a problem because now you got Russia pretty much blockaded. You got Ukraine, then the Baltic states. Now you're going to have Finland. All of that is NATO. So they can't do anything.
In Ukraine.
There's more there, but I kind of want to move ahead a little bit because here is the most important part about Ukraine. All right. This is the most important part about the whole, it's not my concern. We're going to get into that and kind of break it down a little bit.
We're saying maybe January we'll let somebody transfer some jets.
I'm sorry, Mr. Vice President, I know you're running for president. You are distressed that the Ukrainians don't have enough American tanks. Every city in the United States has become much worse over the past 3 years.
Yeah.
Drive around. There's not one city that's gotten better in the United States. And it's visible. Our economy has degraded. The suicide rate has jumped. Public filth and disorder and crime have exponentially increased. And yet your concern is that the Ukrainians, a country most people can't find on a map, who've received tens of billions of U.S. tax dollars, don't have enough tanks. Right. I think it's a fair question to ask, like, where's the concern for the United States in that?
Well, it's not my concern.
Now, okay, y'all heard that. It's not my concern. What he was referring to, in my opinion, and we can have a debate about it, he's referring to Tucker saying that your concern is about Ukraine not having enough tanks. He was saying that his viewpoint, his mindset, his focus was on Ukraine. The concern was on Ukraine not having enough tanks and not the American people. So he's saying that's not my concern. You see what I'm saying? Because Tucker said the word concern twice. He said it about Ukraine and about the American people. So it's a matter of opinion, really. What do you think he was referring to? Was he referring to Ukraine not having what they need, or about Americans not having what they need? Because, again, the word concern was used twice. All right. So let's hear what he says about Tucker's statement, shall we?
Tucker, I've heard that routine from you before, but that's not my concern. I'm running for president of the United States because I think this country's in a lot of trouble. I think Joe Biden has weakened America at home and abroad. And as president of the United States, we're going to restore law and order in our cities. We're going to secure our border. We're going to get this economy moving again. And we're going to make sure that we have men and women on our courts at every level that will stand for the right to life and defend all the God-given liberties enshrined in our Constitution. Anybody that says that we can't be the leader of the free world and solve our problems at home has a pretty small view of the greatest nation on earth. We can do both.
So basically, he wants to be the world police. That's what that means. Leader of the free world, world police. So if there is a conflict anywhere in the world where it benefits us, let's go ahead and provide a bunch of money, maybe even manpower if it comes down to it. Did you hear Biden talking about activating like selective service? Hold on. If you can't get enough people, look, what do they say when talking about the military? They say they're not meeting the recruitment requirements. And the reason why they say that is because, Americans are fat, we can't pass the physical exam. Is it because of that? Or is it because you got people that are in the military right now telling their kids, hey, don't join up? 80% of military recruits have family who are also in the military. So if their dad, their mom, their brother, their uncle, their sister is saying, hey, don't join, it got too woke, you're forced to get the vax, maybe that is the reason why they don't want to join. And then ROTC, not in school anymore, at a 40% drop, no more ROTC. And a lot of the kids come from ROTC in high school. So the vets say don't go. No ROTC in high school. The scandemic shut everything down. You couldn't even go to school. I mean, there's some other things going on aside from Americans being fat and not being able to pass physical exams, all right? And it can't be about physical preparedness because you can get a sex change in the military. So obviously, if you're getting your twig and berries lopped off, you're not going to be battle ready anyway, but you could do that in the military, but different story. I digress. The point is they're trying to activate selective service to fill the gap. Let me see if I can find that right quick, and then I keep on rocking with the summit. Let me find that right quick. Y'all please give me. Okay. Here we go. So let's check it out. Now, it might not be selective service. It might be a select reserve force. So I might have got that wrong. It says Biden approves mobilization of reserves to support UCOM. What does that mean? Ukraine? They're going over to Eastern Europe. Are they going to go to Kiev? Are they going to go to Poland? Like, where are we going? President Joe Biden today issued an executive order. This is from July 13th, 2023, so 2 days ago. He issued an executive order approving the mobilization of select reserve forces with up to 3,000 personnel, augmenting the armed forces in support of Operation Atlantic Resolve. This operation will be designated as a contingency operation, said Army Lieutenant General Douglas A. Sims, second Joint Staff Director of Operations, during a press briefing today. The new designation benefits troops and families with increases in authorities, entitlements, and access to the reserve component forces and personnel. Okay, so check it out right here. The executive order reaffirms the unwavering support and commitment to defend NATO's eastern flank in the wake of Russia's illegal and unprovoked war on Ukraine. All right, what that mean? Eastern flank, Eastern Europe, that means Ukraine. Are they going to be boots on the ground in Ukraine? Not quite. Maybe Poland or somewhere like that. Maybe even the Baltic states surrounding Ukraine. And if worse coming to worse, hey, man, go on in. You right there. Go on in. All right. So imagine you getting sent to die in Ukraine for no other reason than to try and weaken Russia. And why is Russia our enemy anyway? Why do we have beef with Russia anyway? Huh? Your president signed an executive order. Now, under my president, under your president, Donald Trump, he would do no such thing. There wouldn't be all this conflict going on around the world. You got your president right now signing executive orders to send your kids to go die in Ukraine. For what reason? Anyway, I digress. Let's get right back to it. All right, there's more. So shout out to our guy, Ramaswamy. He did a very good job. He answered the questions pretty well. Let's see what he says here.
So let's just go through the list. Another thing you can't say is that maybe January 6th, while appalling on one level, maybe it was not an insurrection.
So let me talk about, I haven't talked about this much in the campaign. I'll be very honest with you. You want to know what caused January 6th? There's such a temptation to say that there's one man whose name is unspeakable. We can't.
No, first of all, it's QAnon. It's QAnon.
It's QAnon. You want to know what caused January 6th? Is pervasive censorship in this country in the lead up to January 6th. You tell people in this country they cannot speak, that is when they scream. You tell people they cannot scream, that is when they tear things down. And so the reality is, we were told that you could not question where the virus came from when we all knew it came from a lab in Wuhan, which now they admit. We were told that you could not send a private message to someone on the eve of an election that Hunter Biden's laptop story was actually a true story worth considering before an election. You were systematically suppressed. So think about this. You told you had to be locked down, had to take a vaccine that was mandated and forced down your throat, stay locked down in your home while Antifa and BLM roam and burn the streets of this country. So that's the lead up of one full year of telling people you have to shut up, sit down, and do as you're told. And then you tell them, okay, there's an election where you didn't get the information that you needed, such as the Hunter Biden laptop story being real and suppressed. That's what caused January 6th, is a cycle of censorship in this country. And until we look ourselves in the mirror and admit truth on that, we will not move forward as a country. And I think that's the real cause. And we're not, and I'm sorry to say this, Tucker, but I think until we reckon with that reality, I worry that is the beginning of, it's a friendly parley compared to what's to come, unless we step up and speak truth, restore integrity, and actually lead us to who we are as a people, rather than sweeping the truth under the rug.
That was very well said. I mean, who can say anything against that? That was very, very well said. So again, that was Vivek Ramaswamy. All right. Now, here is some more. Hold on. Hopefully I didn't skip somebody. All right. So here's, now we don't need Pence. Let me just come out of this right quick. I'll give me a second to get myself together. Okay. We can close that one and that one. And then let's go to DeSantis, shall we?
This mess a year and a half from now, say, and let's just say it's static, it's where it is right now. What do you do about it? Like, how do you act?
One, Europe needs to do more. This is their backyard. We have NATO countries that don't produce support for their own defenses, and we're supposed to do it, and we're taking away weapons and ammo that could go to respond to contingencies overseas. So we would do more in terms of the Pacific, and the goal should be to bring it to a conclusion. You bring it to a conclusion in a way that's a sustainable peace and that doesn't reward aggression, and you have to be able to use different levers that you have. I mean, for example, one of the leverages I would use vis-a-vis Russia is I would do our own energy exploration and send it over to Europe so they don't have to rely on Putin. I would stop giving Iran a free pass like Biden is because they're funding Russia. So we have some ability to use this, but the goal should be we cannot have a quagmire that goes on for years and years. And seeing Biden put those troops there, I can tell you, we cannot have American troops in Ukraine. That is a total non-starter.
All right. So how you guys feel about DeSantis and what he's saying? Do you like the direction he's going in? What are your thoughts on Ron DeSantis? All right. So that's CBDC. That's not necessarily that interesting. Here we go again with my man Vivek. I wanted to get back to him talking about this whole thing about white privilege, all that kind of other nonsense like that. Let's check him out.
You know, my parents came to this country with almost no money. I've gone on to found multi-billion-dollar companies. And then people tell me, oh, that's because you had privilege. They tell me white privilege. It's sort of weird. It's sort of an interesting. It's kind of interesting.
Do you tell them?
I say, take the blindfold off, and now you have your answer. But the interesting answer is, actually what I do tell him, Tucker, is that I did have privilege. I didn't grow up in money, but I had two parents in the house, a mother and a father, with a focus on education and a faith in God. And you know what? That is the ultimate privilege. That if I'm going to enjoy that, every kid in this country ought to enjoy it too.
Very well said. He's doing very good. A lot of you guys are saying he could be a good VP pick for Trump. I think you're right. He could be a good VP pick. He could also be the president one day. So I'm not sure about right now. I'm missing a little something. I don't know what it is, but he'd be a very good VP. And with enough visibility, and he's out there in D.C. for long enough, he could become president. So let's say, for example, he was the vice president under Trump, and Trump wins again in 2024. I like to see him in 2028 run again, and then he could be the president for 8 years beyond that. That'd be actually the perfect scenario. But I need to see more from him, because again, it's something missing for me. I don't know what it is. I can't put my finger on it, but I like him. I do like him. Out of everybody that was there at the summit, was that last night or whenever that was, he was the best, hands down. All right, let's keep on going here. This is more from DeSantis.
Nationally.
Well, I'm very proud to say Kim Reynolds is here, and she signed a great heartbeat bill today. We were able to do that in Florida. We had a lot of opposition to that. I'm proud to have been a pro-life governor, and I will be a pro-life president. So, I mean, of course, I want to sign pro-life legislation. I think it's something that we need to develop a culture of life in this country. If you look over the last 50 years, we allowed practices that were barbaric. Post-birth abortion. When you have a fully formed baby 6-7 months in. And I don't think Rome's built in a day. I think it's going to take time to make progress in some parts of the country. But as president, I will be somebody who will use the bully pulpit to support governors like Kim Reynolds when she's got a bill, other states as they advance the cause of life. It is a critical issue, and it's one I'm happy to have done. And oh, by the way, this is an issue where I had a lot of supporters who were averse to me on this. Donors saying they didn't want to support me if I stood for life. It's been written about how I lost a lot of really big supporters. Some of them just aren't pro-life. Some of them think it's a political liability. And at the end of the day, you get into office to be able to do what's right. And you've got to stand on principle, and you've got to say, why am I here? If you're here to contort yourself into a pretzel, to try to not have to take on big issues, to take the political road that's easier traveled, then you're not somebody that's dependable. So we stood up. We did what was right. Yeah, we lost some support as a result of that. But if I had a chance to do it again, I'd do it every day of the week and twice on Sunday.
Okay, there's DeSantis. I don't know. He's the same way. It's like he's not really captivating. I can't put my finger on him. Like with Vivek, I don't know what it is. With DeSantis, he's not captivating. Vivek is more captivating. He's more, you want to listen to him talk. He's more interesting. DeSantis is a good politician, but doing these speaking engagements and things like that, I don't know. I think he's getting wrong information. He's getting wrong counseling. just not doing it for me. I like him, though. As a governor, I think he'd be the best. But the thing about Florida, there's term limits as a governor. So after this term, it's a wrap. He has to do something else. He could be a good president, but I don't know. Let's keep on going. Okay. There's more from him, but I kind of want to move a little bit further here. We got to Pence and everything else. Okay, my man Tim Scott. Let's go to Tim Scott right quick. Let's go ahead and close these out. Then we'll keep on moving. All right, Tim Scott. I almost forgot about my man Tim Scott still running for president, right?
I can't imagine many people would disagree with that. I wonder what you do with the millions of foreign nationals here illegally, many with fake papers, who are here. Like, what do you do with them? You become president.
Yes.
Sworn in January 2025, and you've got, let's say, 7 million people who've come in the last 4 years. What do you do with them? Do you deport them?
I think it's a very difficult task to deport them all at one time. But here's what we make sure they never do, is you never break the law and become an American citizen by breaking the laws.
Well, hold on. But would you deport any of them? How many would you deport?
I think you have to start the process of identifying where they are. Listen, this is a really important question. I hope that we don't miss this. Because those folks who come into our country illegally, even those who are seeking asylum, go around our country, and some of the asylum dates for your court appearance is 2033, 10 years from now. So finding those who have come to our country illegally has to be a part of the job number one.
What he's saying right here is right, because you could just say, yeah, I'm going to get everybody and deport them, but it's like, if they were given the date for their asylum to go to court and it's 10 years from now, what do you do with that? See, we got a whole big mess that's been made. Now we got to figure out a way to clean up this mess that was made. How are you going to deport somebody who has a court date that is 10 years from now? What are you going to do with that? They shouldn't have been here in the first place, but now we got to figure out a way to clean it up in a realistic, legal way. So what he's saying is right, actually.
And that means that we're going to have to take a look panoramically across our country and make sure that we stop this thing called sanctuary cities and sanctuary states that receive our resources to make sure that the federal government cannot figure out where the folks are. So in order for us to achieve the goals that the really brilliant guy on the stage, I'm not talking about myself, wants us to achieve. That was a compliment, by the way.
Oh, sorry, I went right over my head. I was like,
I want to make sure I get it. Sometimes I give compliments. I have to let people
Brilliant's
know.
Brilliant's a little strong.
Okay. Really smart cookie over here. Achieve, we have to identify where they are. And I'm not going to pretend that will be an easy task, but that should be the responsibility.
Well, wait a second. The federal government's knows where everyone is because everyone has a smartphone and they're tracking you.
Yes.
You know, so we know anyone using a fake social security number, why not just drop them off in Tijuana? Bye-bye.
Well, I'm going to appoint Tucker Carlson as my bye-bye ambassador to figure this out. So we're going to work together on this. And I'm
a sincere question.
I'm sincere
maybe the reason that people come by the millions, uninvited, illegally, making a mockery of the rule of law. I have to obey the law, but someone from Haiti doesn't? Or what? But they come because they know that no politician will say, come and you're leaving. They don't put up with this in Japan.
Absolutely. Well, they don't put up
you're gone. Why not do that?
What Tucker is saying, but they're both right. You see, they don't do things like this in other countries. You can't just go to Japan willy-nilly, China, anywhere like that. You can't do that there. But under the Biden administration, you can do whatever you want under Biden. And if they're allowing people to come in by the boatloads and just letting them out in the world, in the wild, how are you going to find them? How are you really going to find these people? There's no tracking device. There's nothing you could do. So how do you really go about doing this? All you really can do is, at a certain point, if somebody is caught committing the crime and they don't have their papers in order, all right, time to go. If they're trying to get funding, if they're trying to apply for something, you can get them that way. But if they stay under the radar, what are you going to do? What they should do is get that border wall built up, prevent anybody else from coming in here illegally. That's how you stop it. But mass deportation, it's much easier said than done. Of course it should happen, but how are we going to do it realistically? That's the point that Tim Scott was making. But Tucker was right to say, people around the world, they don't do this in Japan or China. He's right about that. They're both right. All right. So now we're talking about Vladimir Putin and Mexico, all that kind of stuff. This was pretty good from Tucker. Tucker actually was as good as Vivek by being the host. He was making a lot of good points as well. If we can get Tucker to step from behind the camera and in front of a podium, he might do some good, to be totally honest with you.
I'm just interested because all measures are relative. So Russia's bad, Russia's a threat, Putin's evil, got it. But the total body count from Russia in the United States is right around 0. Like, I don't know anyone who's been killed by Russia. I know people personally who've been killed by Mexico. The government of Mexico allows fentanyl to be made in its country and to come over our border.
Yes.
And remittances from Mexico are a huge part of their economy. The Mexican government is party to the murder of hundreds of thousands of Americans. So why is Mexico less of a threat than Russia?
Well, two things. I think we can walk and chew gum at the same time.
Okay, but
yeah, and frankly, here's
no Americans killed by Russia, hundreds of thousands killed by Mexico, but Mexico's our ally and Russia's our enemy. How does that work?
Well, I'm not going to pretend like the legislation I have sponsored and I would sign as President of the United States freezes the assets of the Mexican cartels, targets the Mexican cartels, and hopefully eliminates the flow of fentanyl. Because I do agree with you that 70,000 Americans losing their lives on an annual basis is an existential threat to America that we can solve. We don't have to choose the good news.
Would you be willing to say to the Mexican government, your economy runs on factories right over the border, car plants, for example, but many other manufacturing plants, and we're just going to slap tariffs on that and tank your economy, like tomorrow, unless you stop allowing poison to come into our country? Like, why not do that?
Very, very well said from Tucker. Again, if you can get from behind the camera in front of a podium, you could do some good here. Now, here we're talking about Asa Hutchinson. Now, I have no idea why this man is running. He has absolutely zero chance. Zero chance. I would never in my life ever vote for this man for dog catcher, let alone president of the USA. I would never vote for a guy like this, ever.
Face. And I believe in a limited role of government. And so, I don't think that California ought to be able to tell parents, you need to have gender-affirming care for the children. The government should not do that. And in the same way, let's keep the government out of it unless it's that extreme case. And let's let parents guide the children. I stand with parents.
So what he's saying here, to be clear, he's saying it's okay for a child to get gender reassignment surgery if the parent says it's okay. He's saying the government shouldn't get in the way of parents wanting to have their 5-year-old become transgender. That's what he's saying. That's exactly what he's saying right here. Okay. So this is totally nuts. This is a GOP person running for president. He has to go. Get this guy out of here.
So, and amen for standing with parents, and I think everyone in the room would agree with that. But the reason I asked the question was not to bring up a sore subject, which I know that it is, but to ask if in the subsequent 2 years, you had said that you drew the line at castration of physical altercation of a child's body because it's permanent. But in the subsequent 2 years, I think we've learned that hormone therapy for prepubescent children is permanent. It changes the bone structure. It changes the brain of the child. A lot of people believe, including me, that it destroys the child's life. But it is permanent. It's not reversible. So given that and the standard you just articulated, do you have different feelings? I mean, this is a permanent change we are making to a child. Why would we allow that if we don't allow surgery?
Well, permanent change is one issue, but also hormonal treatment is a different issue and can be a different issue. And whenever you look at the bill that I vetoed, there was not any grandfather clause in there. Again, I respect legislators that have a different view, but I think independently, I think of the parents, I think of the Constitution, and actually the court, if you read the decision of the federal judge that struck it down as unconstitutional, really sided with parents as well.
But how is it treatment? I guess that's my question. If you have a child who's born a boy, I want to become a girl. He hasn't gone through puberty yet. He's, say, 10. Is it treatment to prevent him from going through the natural process of adolescence? How is that treatment? It seems not like treatment. It seems like something else.
Well, you have to Tucker, I hope that we'll be able to talk about some issues. I know that.
Well, nah, come on, man. Like, let's see. You're doing way too much hemming and hawing. It's a really you're avoiding the question. You're dodging it, Matrix style. You're dodging the question. Answer it. You, Mr. Hutchinson, you support children getting hormone treatment to quote unquote treat some kind of thing that they might have going on. Little boy's 8 years old. He might say to his mom that he's a girl, or the mom might say he thinks he's a girl. They put the 8-year-old on puberty blockers or hormone blockers. You say it's okay. You say if that doesn't happen, if it's not allowed to happen, then it's somehow going against the parents. Now, just because the parents may say so does not mean it's okay, because sometimes the parents can abuse the children. So is that okay? Oh, I stand with the parents. So if the parents are literally beating their kids every day, black and blue, hurting the kids, is that okay because the parents are doing it? There's a thing called child abuse, and that is not okay. That is illegal. That is not legal. We're talking about hormone treatment, hormone quote unquote therapy. That should be in the same category as child abuse. And if you say anything to the contrary, I would never, ever, ever in my life ever vote for you for anything. For anything. You should get locked up, actually, but I digress. I'm getting triggered.
This is one of the biggest issues in the country, and I think every person in this room would agree that it is a central issue, because these are children who are being altered permanently, and you can defend that alteration, that change, if you like, but there's really no debate about whether or not it's permanent. And so I think it's fair to ask you in a calm, rational, and I very much hope polite way, why you would support that.
He had no real answer. He had no real answer. This guy was a nut. I don't understand how he was able to get to this particular stage. All right. Now, here's Tim Scott talking about Ukraine.
You know, the Third World War very quickly. So why not force a peace?
Now, if you guys are wondering who the previous person was, that was Asa Hutchinson. I think he's, a governor or senator or something like that. Let me just get it right. He is, he was a governor of Arkansas from 2015 to 2023. So he's a former governor of Arkansas, Asa Hutchinson, A-S-A Hutchinson. Now we're going back to Tim Scott talking about Ukraine and the peace and whatnot. What could happen in Ukraine?
How would you do that?
Well, you could tell Ukraine, and they are a client state of the United States, without American backing, there's kind of no Ukraine. We're literally paying the salaries of their bureaucrats. We want you to sit down, as they tried to do, but were stopped by our government, and stop this war. Yeah. And reach a peace as one does, where both sides, concede some of their interests. Like, why wouldn't that be in our interest to do that?
I think the faster we get to peace, the better off we are. What we don't want to do, from my perspective, is allow ourselves to ask for a premature peace that cannot be achieved as the alliances continue to come together. To the extent that we can find our path out of this situation, the better off we are.
So what's the point at which we'll know that we've achieved our goal? And I say that within the context of having watched 20 years of occupation in Afghanistan, where nobody could answer the question, what's the point? Yes. And no one in Congress ever asked that question, amazingly. So what is the specific goal here?
Yeah, so I would say that the objective should be for Zelensky and Ukraine to be able to achieve victory by maintaining as much of their territory as they possibly can, and then seeing the resources that we've deployed, along with our Western alliances, achieving the peace that I believe comes when you get these two folks to sit down and have a conversation that allows them to determine where those lines will be drawn for the next 100 years.
Okay.
Okie dokie. All right, that's Tim Scott. And I think we already covered this one with Asa. Let me see if he continues here, or if it's the same thing we already covered.
And I will stop with this, but you have repeatedly described delaying a...
Yeah, we already covered that. All right. Now, Glenn Beck talked about Asa in an interview, and here are his comments. Glenn Beck spoke on Asa's interview. The former governor of Arkansas, talking about gender reassignment, surgery, things of that nature. Let's check it out.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Great to see you again. Thank you.
I don't think I've ever seen anything quite like that. At one point in America, the hopes and dreams of hundreds and hundreds of people, as they looked up into the sky, and those in the sky that looked down, they thought it was going to go in one way, and 29 seconds later, the entire Hindenburg was on the ground. And I think that's maybe what we saw today. We're bringing in Blaze TV contributor.
Yeah, that was pretty bad. It was pretty bad from Asa. The Hindenburg disaster, that was pretty much what it was. And I think I missed Nikki Haley. I'm not sure why I don't have any clips from her. Let me try to find something from her, and I think that will be the summary of the summit. The event was about 8 hours long, and it was streamed on YouTube. If you want to find the full link for the summit, I have it on my website, anthonyblogan.com. You could go to the article that corresponds to it, and you can see it right there in the links. Let me find Nikki Haley, and then we're going to keep on rocking and rolling. And if you like what you're hearing so far, please give the video a thumbs up, like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. That'll help me out tremendously. But yeah, Nikki Haley also has no chance. She's a good politician, I suppose, like senator, governor, something like that. But beyond that, I don't really think that she has any chance to do anything else. All right. So let's go ahead and roll these clips right here. Here we go. The first one is about the election, the 2020 election. Was it any kind of funny stuff going on? Like, what was really happening? And you're going to hear her answer. Let's zoom in a tad on that. There we go. Let's go right back to it.
As a mechanical question, it's not a trick question, it's just like the mechanics of it, something you're thinking about since you're running. I don't think anyone would say Joe Biden was a great candidate.
No.
Didn't campaign.
He didn't campaign at all.
He was not a figure who commanded respect among Democrats. They made fun of him. I'm not attacking the guy, but that's true.
Right.
Nobody in Washington said, I want my kid to grow up to be Joe Biden. And yet, at the end, he's got 81 million votes. 15 million more than Barack Obama, who, whatever you think of him, was a very talented politician, and I think smart. So, how did he do that? And what can we learn from that?
Well, what you can learn from it is what we did in South Carolina. I said in South Carolina, if you've got to show picture ID to buy Sudafed, if you've got to show picture ID to get on a plane, you should have to show picture ID to protect the integrity of the election process.
So,
and we have to make sure election integrity is something we don't ever stop. You have to continue over and over. We've had some states who've done some great things and they've put voter ID in place, and that's been great. We still have some other states who haven't done anything, and we need to make sure we're doing what we're supposed to. I mean, we saw during COVID, a lot of secretaries of state changed rules without getting state legislative support. We saw a lot of that happening. We saw a lot of mail-out balloting. We've got to make sure we continue to fight to make sure we have integrity in the election process. Because I saw at the United Nations, when you have your people lose faith in an election system, that's the first crack of a country falling apart. We have to keep fighting for this. We have to make sure we get it done.
Yes. So when I asked about these 81 million votes, you immediately said things I think I agree with about election integrity. Yeah. So are you suggesting that last election, it sounds like you're saying you don't think it was on the level?
Are you talking about the presidential?
That's correct, the presidential.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think we all know that there were irregularities in there and that there were some issues that happened. We know that there was mail-out balloting that shouldn't have happened. Do I think that changed the results of the election? No. I mean, I think President Biden ended up winning the election. But I think at the end of the day, it showed we've got a lot of work to do in terms of election integrity.
So you mentioned mail-in ballots. Would you restrict that if you're president?
Yeah, I don't.
So, what do you guys think about what Nikki Haley was saying? You think that she was on point, off point? Y'all, let me know your thoughts on what she was talking about as far as their election and the 81 million, all that good stuff in the comments. Now, we're talking about Nord Stream. Now, I think we all know what happened. And by the way, they recently found some evidence of explosives by the Nord Stream 2 site. And we know what happened. It was a U.S. destroyer right there in the Baltic. We know what happened. We know that we did that because destroying Nord Stream interrupted Russia's money supply because Russia was sending sending the gas from St. Petersburg through the pipeline to Germany. Okay? That was how a lot of their war chest is funded. So by blowing that up, you hurt them. All of this right now, the Ukraine war, the Nord Stream, it's a way to try and hurt Russia. Sanctions, Ukraine, all of that. That's all that it is. So it's pretty clear that we had something to do with it, but let's see what she says.
Who blew up the Nord Stream pipeline?
I mean, I don't know.
I'm not claiming you did it.
No.
I'm just kidding. No, I don't know. I mean,
that's what I'm saying. Do you know who did it?
Seems pretty obvious. It was backed by the Biden administration, I would say. I mean, I think all the evidence suggests that, but I wasn't there. But I mean, that seems like a huge step. This is the largest industrial sabotage in history, sent more carbon in the atmosphere than any act ever. And like, there's weirdly no curiosity about who did it. And I think that's strange. Why do you think
there's a lot of things that are strange with the Biden administration. This isn't the first one.
Awkward silence. Got kind of weird.
Yes, what I'm really saying is if you were running against the Biden administration, to do something like that and shaft our closest allies in the world, which would be Western Europe, and deprive them of the energy they need to run their manufacturing sector and destroy their economy, which it is in the process of doing, like, that's a major sin to have done something like that. You just betrayed our allies, and no one on the right is accusing the Bidens of what they clearly did. So I don't know why.
Yeah, it's pretty simple. Nikki Haley, I don't know. Nikki Haley is political, like straightforward political. It's no real flex room. There's no room in there for her to kind of go against the grain or say anything different. She's right on World Economic Forum, Council on Foreign Relations, DC. That's Nikki Haley. So if that's what you want, it's what you get from her. Okay, that you're going to get John McCain in a dress, basically, in my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but I don't think so. Some normies, they like that. They like the old school, go along, get along. They like that type of thing. But some want the Trump, Vivek Ramaswamy, somebody that's different and that'll bring something different to the table. We got a lot of the uniparty type people, your rhinos, your DC rats. They're not really going to help the country go forward in a positive way. They're going to bring on things like the 2008 financial crisis. They're going to bring on things like some of the lockdowns, all that kind of weird stuff we got going on. You know what I mean? The mandates, all kind of stupid stuff. They're going to bring those kind of things on. So we don't really want that to happen. All right. So now that was pretty much the highlights. I mean, of course there's more. It was an 8-hour event. I think, was it Kim Reynolds? I don't want to say her name incorrectly. Yeah, so Kim Reynolds was on stage and she signed the heartbeat law in Iowa. So that happened at that same event. But beyond that, those are the highlights. Out of everybody, Vivek did the best. Ramaswamy, he did the best. The worst, obviously, Asa. Ah, man, that was terrible. To get on a stage with conservative candidates and you support child mutilation, I mean, what kind of crack are you smoking? You and Hunter been hanging out a little bit too much, Asa. You've been going to Camp David with Hunter and hitting that cocaine with your man. That's what's going on with that, because that's crazy. I mean, you can be a rhino talking about Ukraine. You could be talking about trying to hurt Russian Federation, trying to do all kind of weird foreign stuff, but child mutilation, I mean, good grief, where's your line get drawn? Where's your line get drawn? I mean, that was crazy. But again, the best Vivek, he had the best answers. He was in tune with the people. He has more youth. Because that's something else. A lot of these guys are super old. I mean, Vivek's my age. Actually, I'm older than Vivek. He's 37, I'm 38. So 1985, got that youthful spirit. I want a guy that's not going to be in the walker in 1 year to be the president. How old is Asa Hutchinson? Let's check it out. Asa Hutchinson is 72 years old. Okay, Nikki Haley got to be about 60 something, I think, or right at 55. I think she might be about 60, 51. So I was off a little bit. 51. Not that old, but not that young either. And then I think, what's my man's name? I think Tim Scott is right around 50, 55, 57. So let's get somebody that's a little bit younger. How about under the age of 45? Maybe. Just maybe. Maybe somebody that's not 80 years old like Joe Biden, about to fall over and turn into dust. One more fall is going to be complete ashes on the ground. And you know what, Quid? Voltage, you're right. 5'7" is short to be the president. It is. Now, I'm not a heightist. I'm not a shallow person. Don't get it confused. It's not me saying this. All the presidents since Carter have been above 6 foot. And Carter himself might have been about 5'9". How tall was he? I think he was 5'9". And Carter was a terrible president. He was 5'10". He was 5'10". So, look, all the presidents, Slit Willie, W2, W, HW, Slit Willie, Reagan, Obama, Trump, all above 6 foot. Trump 6'3". Obama's like 6 foot, 6'1". Slit Willie like 6'2", 6'3". Because people, they see the height as an authority figure. I'm talking about just the psychology of the average normie out there. Normies, they don't really know what's going on. They're like, okay, who's the vice president? I don't know. She black? I don't know. What's her name? They have no idea. So they're going to see somebody that is on a debate stage. If you are 5'7" next to a 6'3" guy, the 6'3" guy has an advantage in their mind. They don't know their politics at all. They don't know policy at all. All they see is a physical difference. Like that debate back in the day where one guy was sweating and the other guy wasn't sweating. That right there was, I mean, the appearance made it made a big difference. It made a huge difference. You know, I think Trump is 6'3". Yeah, I think Trump is 6'3". I've seen Trump in person. He's closer to my size. 6'3". Yep. We're like the same size. He's bigger than me a little bit, obviously, weight-wise, but we're about the same height. And yeah, that's most presidents. And again, Carter was the shortest one at 5'10" over the past many years. Somebody said 6'8". Nah, I've never heard Trump claim he's 6'7". Now, Barron is a giant. Barron Trump, Trump's youngest boy, or his youngest son, his other kids are grown, but his boy is a giant because Melania is tall. Melania is like 5'10", 5'11". Trump's 6'3", so of course they're gonna have this giant of a boy. Hold on. Now this picture right here is not even that recent. I'm gonna try to find a recent picture of Barron. All right, so let's go. In the past month, let's try to find a picture of Barron. All right, hold on, check this out. This is a crazy picture. I'm not sure when this was, but look at this. Look at this. My man is out of the frame. Listen, Trump is 6'3". Melania is like 5'10". She's wearing heels, obviously, so she's gonna be a little bit taller than 5'10". She's probably like 6'2" in heels. Look at Barron. That's a real picture. That man right there in that suit, that's their son. Barron got to be about what, 16? How old is Barron at this age? Barron is 17 years old. Yep, 17. And he might have been 16 right there. Look at this. A giant basketball player. You about to be, you're going to see Barron Trump playing for the LA Lakers with LeBron James' boy. That'd be crazy. Okay. So yeah, shout out to Barron, the young giant over there. All right. Now, we got calls to get to in a minute. The number to call is 434-658-1220. Again, 434-658-1220. We're going to get to the calls in just a minute. Here's another shot of Barron right here. Look at this. The boy's giant. He's head and shoulders above Trump, almost. The shoulders are way up. The shoulders are like up to Trump's ear. That's humongous. All right. But we got super chats, and then we're going to get to the calls. Again, the number to call, 434-658-1220. Again, 434-658-1220. Let me get to the supers right here. Then we get to the calls. Shout out to Richard Davis, who says, awesome live show, ABL. Thank you for that. I definitely appreciate you. Let me make sure I have all the supers, because I think I might be missing some here. Y'all give me a second. And if you like what you've been hearing so far tonight, please give the video a thumbs up. Like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. That'll help me out tremendously. And y'all know I could not do the show without you. All righty. Let me just make sure I'm on the right page with everything we got going on. And there we go. All right, we good. So shout out to Rebel Without a Reason, who says, only one thing can stop these activists, jobs. There you go. Also, other things John Kerry also hates, manual labor. And John Kerry never flew in a private jet. Just his body did. That gets to Michael Guest, who says, I suppose Kerry smoked it, but never inhaled it either. Exactly. I never smoked weed, but I smoked it, but I didn't inhale it, so it don't count. Anyway, Rebel Without a Reason says, I love John Kerry and the Addams Family. That's right. When he played Lurch, that role was so captivating, I cried tears. Michael Guest also says, does the FBI still watch this show? I'm sure they do. Shout out to the FBI if you're watching. Hopefully you're enjoying the show. All right. Shout out to you. Michael Guest also says, what the H is Biden doing? He has been sniffing that white substance found in the White House, ? Hey, great question. Glad you asked. Rebel Without a Reason says, I saw The Freedom on Friday. It was a great movie. Even if you don't know the story, it has great acting, directing, cinematography, etc. If you like action and suspense, you will enjoy it. 5 stars. Well, hey, y'all go watch Sound of Freedom if you've not seen it. Available in theaters. There's all kind of ways to get free tickets, but just go ahead and support it. Check it on out. The Sound of Freedom. Based on the true story, obviously. Think of Without a Reason again, who says, when I was 8, I was playing with Hot Wheels and G.I. Joes. This kid's life is over. Where is his grandmama at? Probably nowhere, but that's a great question. Shout out to LW304 2003, who says, look up Latarian Milton and how he turned out. Oh, I remember him. Yeah. That was a guy who hurt himself with his friends. I remember who hurt himself with my friends. He wound up graduating or something. Oh, nah, he got locked up. So, yeah. Okay, Latarian, he was doing some carjacking stuff, and they interviewed him afterwards, and it was a meme. Yeah, I remember that. The hood rat stuff with my friend's kid. It's a shame. Lothair says, what's your favorite Goosebumps story? I have no idea, man. You're talking about, I was reading those books in the 90s, like 91, 92. I could not tell you anything about those right now. You're talking about like 30 years ago. I have no idea. Rebel Without a Reason says, the kid was trying to get thrown in jail so he could see his father. Also, what's your favorite Italian dish? I just had some Italian today, actually. I had Mediterranean, so that really don't count. Italian, I mean, really, you could just make it easy and say pizza. For real. But beyond pizza, the obvious answer, I would say, that's a good question. I don't even know. I really don't know. That's a hard question to ask, really. Chicken parm is always good. Eggplant, like fried eggplant is always good. Yeah, that's pretty much a good spaghetti and meatball is really good too. Or pasta. It's all kind of stuff you can get. All kind of good Italian food, like penne pasta with some chicken, shrimp, something like that. Great. Also, Effie Ranger Xbox says the White House Coke was a resupply. Hunter can't be out. Matthew Richardson says Vivid is a Caucasian. Rebel Without a Reason says Pence needs some cream. Tucker wore him out. Also, breaking news. Pence has emergency surgery to remove Tucker's foot. There you go. Thank you to Cal Denson, who says if Trump wins the GOP primary, I don't see him winning in general. The media, the alphabet agency, and sleeping normies make me feel less optimistic. It's going to be hard. It's going to be hard because we're kind of caught in this weird situation where Trump has so much support, but he also has so much hate. So you got to be able to overcome the hate. I think if you had Vivek as a vice president, you could get a lot of the Indian American, a lot of the other immigrants to come on board and vote for Trump. I'm not sure that it'd be able to overcome a lot of the negative things that have been put out there about him by the media, but it could help. It most certainly could help. So we got to see come 2024. This is going to be a crazy election cycle. It's already crazy right now. You got Trump facing charges for little ticky-tack stuff. It's already crazy right now, but let's get closer to the time. It's going to get nuts. You're going to see Joe Biden stumbling and bumbling and fumbling, sniffing babies and everything else. And the media they're going to be blindfolded to it. They're going to be Bird Box blindfolded to it. But then if Trump so much as says one wrong word or stutters or anything like that, they're going to be on him like white on rice. That's how they do. It's really a crazy crying shame. Shout out to Lothar again who says, dude, kick out Asa off the stage. What a creep. Thank you to Miss Nikki who says, ABL, did you see the interview between the Breakfast Club and Vivek? Vivek got a lot of supporters, myself included, after that terrible interview, in my opinion. Well, it was terrible because they were trying to attack him, but Vivek did very well. Yeah, you guys have been asking me about that. I've not had a lot of time to watch it, but I have seen some of the clips. I want to watch that interview in full and give my commentary. I might be a day late, dollar short, but I'm still, rather be day late, dollar short than never come at all. But anyway, shout out to you guys. You guys are fantastic. The best audience anywhere on these interwebs. If you like what you're hearing so far, please give the video a thumbs up, like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. Let's go ahead and get to the calls. The number to call is 434-658-1220. Again, 434-658-1220. There's also a Skype email in the description box. You can get on that way. If it doesn't work right, if you can't get on the stream, don't blame me. Blame the white man. It's not my fault. Y'all already know. Let's go ahead and get rocking and rolling. And if you like what you're hearing so far, please give the video a thumbs up, like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. That'll help me out tremendously. Alrighty. Let's go ahead and get into it. Let me see. Somebody says bribing Joe or non-blinking president. I don't know what they're going to do. I think the whole thing with Joe is crazy. It's a whole big crazy mess. All right. Let me go ahead and try to restart Skype. It wants to act up already. Look at that. That's crazy. All right. I think we're good now. Let's test it. 859, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Yo, how's it going, man? I'm enjoying the show.
Well, I'm glad you are, man. What's happening?
Oh, not much, man. Your libertarian friend, Luciferian Libertarians here. I'm actually 100% sober this time, and I'm about to work the other job. Just finding cocaine in the White House. I mean, how irresponsible that Hunter has to be. That's disrespectful. It seems like he doesn't respect his father, or his father is doing that little booger sugar as well, because some of the ideas he's talking about, like blocking the sun, somebody has to be on drugs thinking about that.
Yeah, but the funny thing about the whole blocking the sun thing is that that's not even a new idea. Like, a lot of what they're talking about right now are just kind of crackpot things that had been discussed before but never done. It's just DC being DC. They're coming up with ways to make themselves stay relevant. Just nonsense that they always do for some odd reason.
Yeah, but also these environmentalists are hypocrites. They want to take all these fancy planes, but they want to punish people like us who have older cars, who live our life as normies as we always do, and they want to punish us. But God forbid they want to have a beachside house right by the beach, and they're saying the water's going to rise over time. But yet, why you have a beachside house? That doesn't make any sense. And I'm like, don't get me wrong. I do think climate change is an issue, but I think people in the government are highly exaggerating the situation, and they're just trying to get more money in their pocket. And the problem is still going to continue happening because they're not going to do anything. Government runs in a snail's pace.
Right, I'm with you.
And they're not going to fix the problem because they're too preoccupied on like stealing oil from Eastern Europe. We're replacing Afghanistan with Russia. And it's kind of sad to see this because when I was younger, I was highly against the Bush administration for going to over in the Middle East, causing the problems, causing wars, destruction, thousands and thousands of deaths. And you know what? I'm kind of thankful. I mean, all the faults with Donald Trump, I will say he caused less conflict. In the 4 years, he caused less conflict over in the Middle East that nobody gives him praise about at all. And you know what? He was better as president compared to Biden. I would like to have Trump any day, even though with his faults.
Yeah, Trump was amazing as a president. Biden, he's just going back to the, globalist, uniparty type nonsense.
I always try to tell people who are these liberals, like, look, you're voting for the Bush administration all over again. If there's going to be like more war, there's going to be more deaths, and there's more of our country stealing oil, then you get what you pay. You get what you pay for, basically. And I even with Trump's faults, and I called up a few times before saying, "Oh, Trump did this. I'm kind of agitated on this." I mean, come on. I mean, Biden making us look like idiots, especially the finding cocaine in the White House. This has to be the Twilight Zone, my friend.
Right on.
Hey, man, I'll talk to you later, man. I got to get to my second job, and nice calling you, and this time 100% sober this time, so much love, man.
Thanks for the call, man. Appreciate you.
No problem, bro.
All right, shout out to the caller. Yeah, Trump, amazing president, did very well. Biden, Biden is just whatever the people on the outside tell him to do, whatever the handlers tell him to do, that's what he's going to do. And that's how that's going to work. All right, Tariq, what's going on?
Hey, what's up, ABL? Can you hear me?
I hear you well.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, just to piggyback off of that last caller, man, when you look at the Democrats and when it comes to war, man, it seems like Democrats are programmed to follow whatever the media tells them to do on the left. And I thought the Democrats were anti-war when George Bush was in power. But to me, it was just they didn't agree with that Iraq war because there was a Republican president. Notice when Obama got in, the Democrats said nothing about our involvement in Syria. They said nothing when it came to Libya. And now when you see this proxy war going on with Ukraine and Russia, which really can drag the world into a nuclear war, you see every liberal supporting it. So these people, man, it's like whatever the media tells them to do, they do it. They used to even hate the CIA and the FBI. Now they are pro CIA, FBI. They are pro the CIA talking to Twitter. I mean, what's crazy is how that judge struck down the intelligence services. I think it was government, whatever institutions telling social media to censor certain people because it's a First Amendment issue. But then Biden is challenging that in the Supreme Court. I mean, how is that not news? And it's just like, how are these liberals, going around saying, minorities need voices, LGBT people need voices, but at the same time trying to censor, man. So, what I'm saying? To me, I think the right is at a good position because it seems like the right or the conservatives, we are the ones really pushing for free speech. And also, it just seems like outside of Robert F. Kennedy seems the only sole voice. We are the only ones who are like, why are we spending all this money overseas on these wars? It is interesting to see that flip because you didn't see that from the right when Bush was in power. But it is interesting to see you got Vivek Ramsey and Donald Trump, man, talking like that. And I'm gonna ask you this, man: do you like Vivek? Because I see Vivek Ramsey as a more media savvy. He's more media savvy than Donald Trump. What do you think about that?
I mean, I think he did really good at the recent event. I liked him the best out of everybody. I'm not quite sure I like him 100%, but I like what I saw from him. He did very well.
Yeah, me too, man. And I honestly think, I don't know if you saw him on The Breakfast Club against Tesla and Figaro. Did you see that?
I've seen some of that. I keep getting told about that. I need to watch the whole thing, but I have seen some clips.
Man, you got to watch her do a video how she was being highly, highly disrespectful. Pretty much telling him that because he hasn't had any like school council services or became like class president, he's skipping to become president. And you know what these black urban radio stations are designed to do? They are just designed to keep black people highly emotional, highly intelligent, incredibly childish when it comes to politics. And always they are telling black people to become attack dogs for the Democrats anytime a Republican comes on, man. So yeah, man, that's all I want to say. And just one more thing before I land my plane, just on that whole transgender winning the Miss Netherlands, you are right on point that really, if women aren't going to do anything about it, I'm at the point where I don't even care anymore, because when I saw those women clapping, it's like, and they are hugging him, and like congratulating that transgender's like, what are we fighting for if the women aren't saying anything? Like, if they're not willing to take a stand and boycott, unless it's about abortion, whatever the media tells them to be mad about, then who cares? Like, y'all listen to these white liberal men, but then try to act like feminists, but these white liberal men tell you how to think. And that's all I got to say, man.
Thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you.
All right, take care.
Very well said. It's like, hey, if the women don't want to fight against what's going on with the trans issue, then what can we do? I mean, we're trying to fight for them and they don't want it. It's going to take a collaborative effort between them and us. Let's keep on going. 205, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey there, this is Jason.
All right, man. What's going on?
Hey, man, how you doing? I wanted to get into the subject regarding for election. Just wanted to hear your thoughts on it. I kind of feel like, for us as conservatives, Republicans, the party, the movement, it kind of, I really don't see how we're going to pull through for 2024. You made a good point, or I think it was on the previous video, about DeSantis. Now, I voted for Trump. I'm 27 years old, by the way. Trump was the first president that I voted for back in 2016. I voted for him back in 2020. And I would hope he would get reelected, but I feel like with all the baggage and stuff that they have on him, and the investigations, I feel like it's going to be very hard for him to make it back in. But then, like you say, with DeSantis, he seems better on paper, but he doesn't have that. He doesn't have that movement like Trump does to think like to actually pull it through. And seeing him kind of performing now out here, campaigning is not. I feel it with a lot of us. He's not looking as sharp as we thought he would. Like you said earlier, he's not like interesting to hear or to listen to. I just got to ask you, man, your honest opinion. Do you really think we could try to pull together for us the 2024 campaign?
What you mean, like as far as like as far as DeSantis, like what's your question?
Just having one of our people get in, whether it's Trump or DeSantis. Do you really think that we would have, like, we have what it takes to fight against what the Democrats got going with the mail-in ballots and the ballot harvesting and stuff like that? I just want to get your thoughts on that.
Well, the issue with the ballot harvesting, mail-in ballots, that's a state-to-state issue. You see, so if you're living in a place where it could go for Trump or whoever's going to be the nominee, those states had to do their own kind of reform, just like they did in Georgia. They reformed it there.
Right.
In Tennessee, they did the voting reform in the states where it really matters. Like, if you're living in California, somewhere like that, where it's not going to go Trump regardless, I don't really think it matters, because that's going to be a lost cause regardless. So as long as we have reform in the states where it really matters, where it could go one way or the other, or if it's a Republican place, then that's going to help us out a lot. I think the main thing we got to be able to do is to change the hearts and minds of people and to convince them that, hey, this guy that you got in there right now is not doing the good thing. come to our side, and we got to convince those that are like right in the middle, the center people. Those who are going to be Trump supporters are going to be Trump supporters regardless. They're going to vote for him. It don't really matter. And those who are going to vote for Biden are going to vote for him regardless. But the middle people, we got to get them on board. That's the main thing we got to focus on.
Right.
The voting part of it. That's more of a state issue that should have already been handled. And if it's not been handled, then that's going to be a problem for the future to solve.
Agreed. Yeah, it just I don't know. I just got this bad pit in my stomach, man. Like I feel like I feel like we don't get Trump in there, man. I really don't see how we're gonna make it as a country, because it's so many factors. Even just the Ukraine situation, I honestly feel like Putin has been holding restraint for us, because he maybe have a glimpse of hope that Trump could get back in there and there can be some sort of diplomatic solution to come up. Because we've honestly violated we've crossed the line several times with the whole Ukraine situation, the Nord Stream pipeline, the tanks. Now we're sending cluster munitions. And the thing about it is, what people are not aware of, Russia has already positioned themselves in a good place if we was to get into a nuclear conflict. I mean, they've already transferred nuclear weapons to Belarus. Their nuclear operation have already been on alert since the invasion. And I honestly feel like, we're almost pushing Putin into a corner that he won't have a choice, because you've seen how Zelensky raised a big fit at the NATO summit for them, for him, not being able to join NATO or not giving a date. I feel like if we don't get somebody in there by 2024, we may get someone in there more radical on the left that's going to go ahead and initiate Ukraine into NATO. And at that point, Russia is already positioned, to really, sneak attack us if really they wanted to. I mean, our military is scattered all over the world. Just like you were saying earlier, Biden's trying to see about recruitments. No one wants to join the military. We lost a lot of good military men during the vaccine mandates. We got China to worry about with Taiwan. So I just feel like, us as conservatives, we just got to pray and hope, because I feel like if we don't get somebody in there, it's going to be pretty bad for us by 2024. I feel like the ship is going to be beyond trying to save, if you get what I'm saying. But I'm going to leave you with that, man. I appreciate you taking my call.
Thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you.
All right.
Great call. Yeah, fantastic call. It's going to be an uphill battle for sure. And that's, I don't think nobody can really say anything other than that. That's definitely going to be an uphill battle, but we'll see. We're going to see how the whole thing plays out here. And if you like what you're hearing so far, please give the video a thumbs up, like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. That'll help me out tremendously. Alrighty, let's go to, y'all please hang tight for me. 818, you're on line. Who am I speaking to?
Yes, hi. I'd like to go ahead and talk just a little bit on one of the last callers were touching base on about the transgender person winning the beauty pageant.
Yes.
And I find it incredibly crazy that there's already solutions to all the problems that we're having. You see, my wife, she's from a country where there's lady boys all over the place. I mean, she's from Thailand, and they already have solutions for stuff like this. I mean, when you talk about beauty pageants, they have something called a Miss Tiffany. All right. Basically, transgender people compete with other transgender people. They don't need to be in, biologically female or biologically male. If they want to compete, they should compete amongst themselves. And I find this incredibly funny that nobody's actually caught on to that. I mean, you can even Google Miss Tiffany Thailand, and they're all lady boys, every single one of them. And they sit there, they say they want respect and they want people to respect their space. But in Thailand, people actually understand respect. If they want their space respected, they also have to respect the space of others. That means that if you're straight, if you're gay, or if you're trans, just respect it. I'm one of those people, like, I don't care. Just understand that, there are differences. It goes in the same way. Like, when it comes to, not teaching kids, about, trans and gay stuff, it's like, they don't need that. Let kids be kids. Other things will come naturally. But it's about respecting each other's boundaries. And so, like, I just want to kind of bring that up because I still find it incredibly funny that nobody has brought that up. Like, even conservative, black conservative perspective, he even sat there and said, like, "Hey, why don't they just have their own space so they can compete with each other?" I'm like, yeah, well, in places like Thailand, they already solved that problem. I don't see why, that can't be solved here. You know what I mean?
Well, see, the thing is, it's not even about that. Like, they don't want to have their own space. What they want to do is they want to go into women's spaces. You see, like, that's the whole thing. And because a lot of these people that call themselves trans are not even like that. Like, prime example, you have, what's the guy, the swimmer, Leah Thomas. Okay, this person was competing on a swim team at UPenn as a man for the entire career. And then at the end of his career, he becomes a so-called woman and dominates. When he was a man, he was mediocre at best. And then when he becomes female, he dominates. It's not even about having your own thing to compete because you're going to be on the same level as everybody. You want to go in there and dominate. Also, you want to be in the same area as women because these guys are also not even gay. They're heterosexual, just like Bruce Jenner, all the rest of them. You see, so it's not even about them wanting to really be transgender. It's about them trying to gain an unfair advantage. And also because they perverts, they want to be in the same space as biological women. That's the problem. So they don't want to have their own competition. They want to be with the women. That's the problem here.
Right. No, I 100% agree with you. What I'm saying is I find it funny that nobody's highlighting, like, hey, you guys do your thing while they do their thing. I mean, just like Black conservative perspective said, we should bring back shame. Like, shame these people. Like, in Thailand, like I said, everybody tolerates one another. But I mean, the thing is, like, when they start overstepping their boundaries, they're shamed. So I mean, like I said, I totally 100% agree with you. But I just want to bring awareness to other people. It's like, hey, start speaking of, like, hey, if you guys want to do this, fine, but don't put it to kids. Don't cross into other spaces, and don't be a creep.
Right. Now I'm with you.
Yeah. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say. Like, like I said, I mean, anybody can Google Miss Tiffany, right? I mean, it's like, look, if these people want to exist or whatever, make your space or whatever. But I mean, it's ridiculous. And you know what? And also to add on to that, I did notice that somebody, I forgot who said it, also, like, with the whole what was it, the beauty pageant, right? And somebody was also laughing. It's like, well, yeah, even if they didn't have their own space, probably nobody would watch it. It can also be about a money thing, and whatever have you. But yeah, I mean, like I said, other countries have pretty much solved it. It's just I don't know why, the EU and us over here can't just, like, get together with that.
Right, no doubt.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, that's all I wanted to say. Thank you very much, ABO. Love your show. Hope you have a great night.
Thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you.
Yeah. Bye.
Yeah, I mean, what he's saying is making sense, but we're totally beyond that. Like, that's not even what they want. What they want is to just be with the women. They want to be in the female space. It's not even, they don't, you offer them that, they don't want that. So we're kind of beyond that. But what are you saying making sense? 818, you don't know who I'm speaking to.
Hey, ABL, this is Mike in California. How are you?
Oh, well, how about yourself?
I'm doing okay. I was calling you with a couple topics tonight.
All righty.
Like, sometimes there's things that make you go,
Yes.
So this week, amazingly, they caught a serial killer that had DNA on a pizza crust, but simultaneously, you can't tell who brought cocaine into the White House.
Right. Okay, yeah. So you could find a serial killer. We could crack a decade-old case from a slice of pizza, but the White House, one of the most secure places on the world in the entire world, we don't know who brought cocaine in there. It makes no sense.
And listen, ABL, when they caught that serial killer that day, CNN was doing their magic dance. That was their full coverage for the day. Like, look what has happened. We have caught somebody with DNA from a pizza crust. Listen, that's CSI 20 years ago.
Right, exactly. So if they could have found something like that, if that technology existed 20 years ago to find that out, what do they have now? The federal government, what do they have now as far as technology to determine where a thing came from? It's got to be something that is beyond our imagination, but somehow they could not find the rightful owner of the cocaine. I find it very hard to believe.
You know, I wish I could put $1,000 down on who that cocaine belongs to.
You and me both. I'll be a rich man.
And then the second thing I called about, of course, about Hunter, because I'm on a Hunter roll tonight. What 50-something-year-old is around their daddy all times with a backpack running past him to get inside of the helicopter? And that is bizarre to me.
It is very bizarre, because even the way they speak about Hunter, they speak about him like as a boy. This man is in his 50s. He has grown children. What are we talking about? This is a fully grown man. He could be a grandfather at his age with kids. I think his oldest is like 20 years old. So he's very strange. The drug addiction, that's just an extension of him being strange.
Yeah, the strangest thing about those two is that weird, creepy smile. It's almost uncanny, like in any other circumstance, the way like a Joe Biden smiles, you would say, whoa, that's like Saturday Night Live being the evil person.
Right.
All right, ABL, thanks for letting me call in. Thanks for the show, and I'll talk to you later.
All right, thank you for the call. Definitely appreciate you.
Bye.
That's a great call. He made a great point. You're able to crack a decade-old case with a pizza box, a slice of pizza. You cracked the case based on that. All right. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, there was a serial killer that was found. This guy was killing women. They said he was killing like escorts from Craigslist, and then they said it could have been other people involved as well that could have died. But anyway, they had no idea who it was, and they were able to zero in on this guy that wound up being the architect, I think in New York. And the thing that cracked the case was a box of pizza. They got DNA from the slice of pizza, and then they were able to link that to the murders. And now they got the guy arrested. All right. So if they can do that, then why can't they find out who had the cocaine? Oh, we don't know nothing. We got cameras everywhere. You got all kind of technology available to you in the federal government, and you can't find it? Come on. Let's stop playing games. They have crazy technology nowadays. They can see through walls. They could do all kind of stuff that we don't know about. And if you do know about it, you don't know the full scope of it. Remember they said with the whole submarine, oh, we heard some banging noises. They might be still living. They got 4 days of oxygen left. And then they said, oh, by the way, we have this top secret thing that we know about. We can hear the entire ocean floor. We know all the sounds that go on, and we heard it implode on Sunday. Okay, now you want to tell us? Now you want to reveal that information to us now after the fact? It's bogus. I don't believe anything the government says ever. 425, you're online. Who am I speaking to?
Hello. Can you hear me?
I hear you well.
Hello.
Yes.
Hi. I was wondering, this is off topic, but I wonder what you think about parasites like bed bugs
Bed bugs? I mean, I'm not really sure. I don't like bed bugs.
Well, I just noticed that they're becoming more common in the United States, and people are bringing them from other countries. And I have bed bugs in my home, and they're in my bed, and I wake up in the morning and I have blood stains on my sheets.
Okay, all right. I mean, what can I do about that?
Well, I just wonder if anyone has, like, I ask people opinion of it all the time, and they're just they poop everywhere.
Okay, all right. Okay, now I'm just being trolled. Let's not. I mean, come on, like put the crap pipe down. You and Hunter need to just stop. Y'all getting geeked up together. Ain't nobody got time for that. Like, why would you call me and say that? All right. And this person is caught before, and we had a good conversation. I don't understand. Like, I don't get it. People are weird. Okay. 203, you're on line. Who am I speaking to?
What's up? My brother from another mother, ABL. What's up?
It's all good, man. What's happening?
Good lordy. Bed bugs? Oh, what in the world? Listen. Go ahead, man.
I don't know what's going on. It's a crazy world. But go ahead, boss.
Yo, listen. I think I know what you're saying with Vivek Ramaswamy.
Okay.
There is something odd about that, and I was doing just a quick research while you were online here, and I was like, yo, it's all in the name. It's all in the name. Everybody's name is tied to their genealogy, whether it be from a higher power or whatever it may be. So even your name, bro, you know what your name stands for?
What does it stand for?
Nobility and virtue. But here's the thing, your last name, Logan, which I'm thinking maybe that's why you got that white beard. You might be a little bit Irish or Scottish in you.
Well, actually, yes, but that's not where Logan comes from. The Irish part comes from my mom's side, and that's not where Logan came from. Logan came from my dad's side. So I don't know about that as far as that. Yeah.
From your dad's side. Okay.
No. Okay, yeah. So the Logan came from my dad's side, but the Irish I know about. My great grandfather, who I met, he was actually black and Irish. He was mixed. I met him, but he was not Logan. That's on my mom's side. They were not Logan.
Oh, very interesting. Very interesting. So, yo, here's the thing. Ramaswamy, right? His name stands for a deity, supreme ruler, and a religious teacher, which it has a common sense of almost like, the anti-person who we shall not name.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, yo, that's really crazy. But check this out. When you look at the Baron and Donald, right? Donald is actually supposed to be a proud chief. That's the meaning of his name. And his son's name it's literally the noble landowner, the son of strength. Dang. Can't make it up.
Very interesting.
But anyways, yeah, man. All our names have meaning, man. Anyways, bro, I just wanted to shoot that out there because I was just, investigating really quick. I was like, yeah, you know what? I think that's what he's feeling about Vivek Ramaswamy. I'm like, I like him too. He's got great policies. He's very etiquette, and he, the way he, poses thing is all that, but there's a little underlying thing. I'm like, yo, yeah, he could be the vice president, but he also could make Trump go run for his money. This is a weird one.
Right on.
All right, brother, man. Well, have a great night. I love your show, man. You're doing a great job.
Thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you.
All right, later, bud.
All right, shout out to the caller. All right, the number to call, 434, you know the rest. 504 on the line, who am I speaking to?
Hey, ABL, it's Alien Spaceship.
All right, what's going on?
All right. So I have some things to talk about. So first of all, yeah, that the black kid earlier that you were showing that robbed the car, sold the car rather. Yeah, I think it's terrible, and that basically, he probably had obviously a poor upbringing, and maybe violent media could have influenced him, but probably also, of course, I'm not blaming that. That also he just had no direction to see that this is right and wrong. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I don't really see any parents involved. I just see whoever the adults are in his life are leading him in the wrong direction. That's what I see.
Right. Yeah, because we see this a lot, with the different, things in the black community and in other areas, like with the college kids and stuff. Like with me, like my family, chose to stay in the area when it became black. And then I got really interested with my black friends in the black community. So that's why I'm very focused on the black community. And also I believe in uniting them because they're also my fellow Americans, and I want everybody to be on the right track.
Right on.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, basically you're showing earlier about the thing, I forgot what it's called briefly for a second, but yeah, on the Blaze. Yeah, that. So basically on the Blaze, how the different people were talking and stuff. Yeah, it was a giant circus. It was like the Hindenburg. I definitely agree with that. And it's just that guy that was saying about it was right for parents to do the surgery on the kids. I think it's absolutely terrible, and I don't know how he was able to even get in there, because they seem like they didn't know that he would say that stuff.
Yeah, it was weird. I don't understand how he's a candidate at all and is even getting any kind of press, because there's other guys like Larry Elder could have been there in his place. There are other guys who could have been there in his place. I have no idea how he was able to be here. It's really strange.
Right. Do you think he could be an infiltrator from the left?
I don't know about that, because he was the governor of Arkansas before. So I just think that he shouldn't be on stage at all.
Right. Yeah, because I know there's people that believe that there shouldn't be government interference, and we talk about how we don't trust things the government says. But there's a point where if you're doing stuff to children, like that new movie that's out about that's terrible what some of the people do to children, and I do think with those transgender people and people like that and the dictators of the past and stuff, like these people just want to hurt people and be perverts like the transgender people, and they're using that as an excuse and a ploy to ploy out their fantasies.
Yeah, that's what it looks like to me, for sure.
Right. Now, I do think sometimes with people, maybe on our side, on the other side, they like to pander. I see a lot of pandering. Do you notice that?
I'm not sure what you mean.
Okay. So say like there's like a politician that like that guy, the governor, the former governor, how they may say things to appeal to the transgender or to those communities to try to appeal to that group to bring them on our side, but instead they're just pandering to their cause. What do you think?
I mean, that's possible. A lot of people, they kind of do stuff like that.
Right. And also, yeah, with the Ukraine thing, as I said last time, it's just this proxy war that's going on, and they're trying to just make a lot of money off of it. And I do think, from what I've researched, I definitely feel that they're sending people to Ukraine to fight the war with Russia. So it's basically turning into a World War III scenario.
Yeah, that's not good for any of us.
Right, because if Russia feels threatened, it could want to go and launch the weapons. And I feel that Trump, when he was there, it was a totally different world. And he was able to, he wasn't being a dictator. He was just trying to make peace with these other countries so we don't have any conflicts in the world. And I think he did a great job, and I would like him, to come back in.
Well, of course.
Right. And yeah, also, I'm mixed with different European groups, and I'm also part Irish.
Okay, well, there you go. You're my cousin, I suppose, a little bit down the line.
Yeah. Yeah. And on both sides. And and also I really like the stream. It's very good coverage as always. And thank you for taking my call.
Thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you.
Okay, bye.
All right, shout out to my man for the call. Most certainly appreciate him. Let's go to the next person here. And shout out to you guys for being here. You guys are the best audience anywhere on these internets. I'm going to speak it to 817. You're on the line.
It's very good.
817, hello.
I didn't realize you were answering. Okay. So I was going to say about the little
I can't really hear you, caller. Like you're on speaker and you're far away, and there's also noise in the background.
Can you hear me better now?
I hear you.
Okay, I'm sorry. Hang on. Is this better?
You're just fine.
Right. No, I was saying, okay, yeah, because I had my little speaker. I didn't know it was connected to my speaker because my kids were out there in the backyard with the thing. Anyway, and so I wanted to say, like, with the little boy, you know how, like, he had robbed the car or whatnot. I feel like the parents have felt him, and it's like, you know how they think, like, oh, it's tough to do this. They think they've been taught to, like, oh, you look up to your older cousin or something, and they think, like, oh, I'm about to, like, shoot this person, I'm about to rob this person. I think that's cool. It's not. And it's like a lot of these lyrics, it's like, you rappers, you putting out this stuff. No, I'm not trying to tear down rap. I like rap. I listen to a lot of rock. I listen to everything. I listen to metal, whatever. But it's like, they got to be careful what you put in your lyrics, because you're putting that out there. You're teaching them not to care about anything. You're teaching them, like, want to do drugs. You're teaching them want to drink, do alcohol, do all this stuff. And then it's like when they do it, and then, like, look what happens to the society. And then you want to say, oh, well, Black Lives Matter. You sit there supporting a cause that y'all don't even like, yo, you throw like $5 here. You don't even know, you just threw your money to someone who's like ripping you off. Like some person who's like living with all the bucks you sent. Like, I already know how you feel about it. You hate that, right?
Yeah, I'm not a fan.
Yeah, I'm not a fan at all. So sorry that, you know, like, is it better now? Is it loud noise in the back?
You're good. You're totally fine.
Right. And then, so now I was going to say, like, with, like, the Joe Biden, you know, when he was, like doing he was doing, like, the little kiss thing on the, I was like, what, like, if Donald Trump did that, it would be all over the news. Look at him doing this to this little girl. But Joe get to put his little pursy lips on this little girl, and she was probably scared to death. He, like, kissing her and, like, doing all these things. And it's like, oh, it's supposed to be okay. It's like, you know, this dude is half delusional. He needs to retire. So that's all I gotta say, like, about Joe Biden. He didn't need to make the grocery prices go up. I'm a single mom. Even though I make good money, I'm still suffering. No matter if you make $100,000 a year, you still struggling. You're gonna struggle because you got these prices, everything going up. Your mortgages, when you got insurance, goes up. Nobody cares. It's like, oh, well, we're gonna make our money too. It's like, it's just, this economy is just crap. I didn't mean to complain about that. I'm sorry I caught your show at the last minute, but I didn't know, like, you did have, like, shows earlier during the week, and I was like that little girl with Joe Biden. I saw that, and I was wanting to see, like, oh, why is he doing that? And then, like, with the cocaine, they're not even gonna. Let's say that Donald Trump was in office, they would not even investigate that. I mean, they would be all over it. They would be investigating total out of that. They're not even investigating because it's Joe Biden. So let's say you're snorting a line. You can snort a line in America. It's like, what has America come to? Like, I can't even, and then my kids be hearing it. My kids be seeing it. It's like they got it all over TikTok. They got it over everything. To people jumping over, doing all this stuff, these TikTok challenges. I told my kids, y'all are banned from TikTok because I don't want y'all following them. Because it's like this world has gotten so stupid. It's like, where do I don't even know where to begin. I mean, it's crazy. So it's just a rant. Sorry.
No, it's all good. I hear you 100%. Thank you for your call. I appreciate you.
Oh, you're welcome. And I'll talk to you on Wednesday if I get in.
All right, Dan. Thank you. Appreciate you.
All right.
All right. Shout out to the caller. And shout out to you guys. You guys are fantastic. Couldn't do the show without you. Let's keep on rocking and rolling. 289 on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Oh, yeah. Can you hear me?
I hear you well, but I got some noise in the background.
Okay. Just give me a second. Oh, yeah. Can you hear me a little better now?
I hear you.
Yeah. I'm Anthony Brian Logan Gonzalo. I'm a big fan of your show. Long-time listener. Called once or twice before. Sort of the way my comment on Sound of Freedom. I had a chance to watch it, and it's very good. I just wanted to make a point that it's with the ongoing strike on Hollywood, with the Screen Actors Guild, and I think you hit the nail on the head. And I think other podcasts have said that that the old ways of Hollywood of doing things is pretty much over, right? Like, because this movie, Sound of Freedom, Rolling Stone, a couple of outlets have tried to prevent you from seeing it by giving this negative reviews. On a $50 million budget, this movie has made $65 million and counting. And it's difficult, right? But a movie about child trafficking shouldn't be political, and yet for some reason it's get politicized, right? But the more mainstream media tries to trash this movie, the more you make want people watch it. So I just wanted to throw that in there. And have you had a chance to watch this film yet?
I've not seen the entire thing. I've seen some of it.
Mm. Yeah, it's very graphic, right? But it's a true story. I saw the Jordan Peterson podcast where he had Jim Caviezel and he had Tim Ballard on, and it's a very well done podcast. Everyone knows who Jordan Peterson is, of course, and when you get a platform like that, he certainly helps to elevate things, right? And positive word of mouth really helps a lot, and it helps to off-put some of the reviews that mainstream media, especially CNN, I think you did a video on it. They try to downplay this movie, and they're trying to politicize this. I mean, this is an issue of child trafficking, right? Left or right, this should not be a political issue, but in these polarizing times, unfortunately, everything is.
Yeah, I mean, it shouldn't be so political. It's a good movie about trying to end child trafficking, but of course, people will make it be that way when they don't want certain things to get out there.
Yeah. Like I said before, but because of the rise and power of podcasts and positive word of mouth, especially where there's the digital age, with Elon Musk buying Twitter, I mean, it pretty much bypasses mainstream media, just like with Trump and his election in 2016. Right? You can just pretty much cut out the middleman. With a movie like this, people doing podcasts, both Peterson and Dave Rubin and other podcasters out there. I've talked to both Jim Caviezel and Tim Ballard about the film, and they've released hundreds of thousands, millions of views, and I feel something positive, right? And with the ongoing strike with Hollywood, with the Screen Actors Guild Hollywood strike, ongoing strike, it's like, I wouldn't say Hollywood's dead. It's still going to be there, but it doesn't quite have the power it used to be, because I've noticed last several years it's been nothing but endless rehash of Hollywood reboots and remakes, prequels and sequels, some of which are good, but I think most people are just, are just shrugging their shoulders at this. It doesn't have the power it used to have. That's I just wanted, I guess that's all. Those are my final 2 cents on that subject.
Well, thank you for the call. Definitely appreciate you.
All right, thank you so much.
All right, shout out to the caller. Great call. Let's keep on rocking here. Let's go to 918 in the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, what's up, ABL? It's JB Scotsman from Oklahoma. How you doing, buddy?
It's all good, man. Can't complain.
All right, cool. Well, I wasn't calling in tonight. I'm enjoying the show, but everybody keeps mentioning that 8-year-old kid driving that car, and that reminded me of a story from a really good friend of mine back in 2005, 2006. He was a master electrician, and he got a job going across the country doing different jobs, and he got one in Baltimore, Maryland, working on a new Walmart supercenter they were building. And so one night, I mean, he has a problem with like amphetamines and just drugs and everything. So he went out, and he doesn't know a thing about Baltimore. I don't either. He hailed a cab, and he gets picked up by this kid driving a taxi. He said he couldn't have been more than like 10 years old. This young little black kid wearing these like big metal frame glasses, And this kid drove him around and took him to these crazy neighborhoods so he could score some freaking all kinds of substances. And that was like back in 2005, almost 20 years ago. So, I mean, I just can't believe that.
Mm-hmm.
So there's really no point to the story. That story about the 8-year-old kid reminded me of that. I'm like, damn, I know a guy that experienced something similar all that time way back, And it's just, a little kid out there driving around that taxi. He had a taxi too.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Driving people around in crazy neighborhoods, letting people pick up stuff and telling them where to buy stuff. I can't even imagine what Baltimore's like now. I don't even know what to think about that. Anyway, these kids are probably, I don't know. Yeah, Vivek, I like the dude. I don't think he's ready to be president, but I did like what he said about having two parents in the house, a mother and a father. That is the most important thing.
Very, very important.
So, very important, yeah. All right, man. Well, I'll let you go, dude. Love you, man. Love everybody in the chat and the calls, and have a good night, man.
Thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you.
All right, later, dude.
All right. Shout out to my man for the call. Most certainly appreciate him. And you guys are the best audience anywhere on these interwebs. 773, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
ABL, it's a retired Chicago police officer friend. Thanks for getting to my call. ABL, I wanted to comment on the young kid that did the carjacking. That's a little bit unusual with the carjacking part, but it's not unusual for the criminality of young kids like that. The reason the carjacking is a little unusual is only because they're usually passengers. They're just way too short to reach the pedals and steer the car without crashing it. Although I've seen that, and every single time they've crashed the car because they're so short. But here's the thing I wanted to say, ABL, about that. Usually them young kids like that are recruited by the gangs to shuttle the drugs on a bicycle, to shuttle the drugs to and from where they package the drugs to the drug spot. They also shuttle the money back and forth from the drug spot to the place, to the house that they package up the drugs. They also shuttle guns that way. So as a veteran policeman, we always paid attention to the kids that were on the bicycles. They're also lookouts. But here's the thing. One factor that people don't realize is that, what's the saying, ABL, in the Bible? Idle hands are a devil's playground, or an idle mind is the devil's playground.
That's right.
When you're not going to school and you're out there just chilling and hanging out and maybe selling drugs or doing what you're doing, just hanging out, you get bored. And that lifestyle is exciting. It's one reason why a lot of policemen become the police, especially kids that grew up in the inner city like I did. Most of my friends, we all became the police, not because we wanted to be the police. We wanted a good job, but it's the excitement of the streets. There's an adrenaline and excitement about the streets. The thing that young kids like that, and even kids in their teens and 20s and whatnot, what they don't understand is there's a price to pay for that excitement. They're out there running around, and people get hurt. People get shot and killed. Sometimes you get shot and killed as an offender. There's a price to pay to this, and we're losing generations of people that way. There's no change in you, really, on a whole. Maybe individually here and there, but there's no change in you on a whole once you do those things. Once you feel that excitement and you're out there running around with your friends on the streets and you're wreaking all this havoc and doing all this nonsense. I mean, even a lot of upper class kids, they do silly things, although it was fake with jumping off the boat. They do silly things too, that they don't realize what the consequences are. Although, in these inner cities, it's a more deadly game that they're playing, much more deadly game that they're playing. But, we're going to lose generations of kids this way. And that's the bottom line, is the excitement that people don't realize of being a criminal. There's a certain excitement to it that draws them to that. And as a policeman, ABL, I was always the most leery of young kids like that, young gangbangers like that. Because when you're a little bit older, you understand the consequences of pointing your gun and shooting it at a policeman or something like that. But young kids like that, they really don't yet have the concept of life and death and the consequences to their actions and everything else. And they become very unpredictable, very dangerous and unpredictable. Just like that little kid. He could have easily plowed into people, pedestrians, other cars, and killed them. Did he set out to kill anybody? No. He set out to jump in a car, put a gun in somebody's face, grab your car, and go for a joyride. You know, this is, in their warped mind, this is exciting to them. This breaks up the monotony of not having a job, having dropped out of school and not having anything to do with school. When you have nothing to do, you figure out ways to do things, and they're not always healthy. Anyway, ABL, that's my 2 cents. I'll keep it short. I don't want to overstay my welcome. And I'll talk to you and everybody else in chat later. And thanks a lot.
Thank you for the call. Definitely appreciate it.
Thank you.
Great call. I mean, it makes sense. It's crazy, though. I mean, imagine you're on the other end of that gun. You get this 8-year-old. He might have that gun loaded. He might have the finger on the trigger. He's just trying to go for a joyride. And then that finger slip, boom, you dead. All for what? Over a potential joyride? It's crazy, but that's how people are. Like, it's kind of like that out there in these environments. It's really a mess. 860, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, Bill, it's F&A Ranger Xbox. I didn't think I was going to get on tonight.
Well, I got you, boss. What's happening?
First, I'd like to give my thoughts and prayers to that young woman that was abducted. I saw your show earlier today, and my heart just went out to her. And I'm afraid for her, and I hope she's recovered, healthy.
Absolutely.
Yeah, about Hunter Biden. Hunter Biden's like an old tomcat. You can't let him out run around the streets of Washington, D.C., you know, all coked up and with, you know, money in the bank, especially Washington. So I'm thinking that, you know, they're keeping him under lockdown right now because if he gets out, it's going to be one big mess all over. They can't deny it anymore after that.
Oh, yeah.
So I think cocaine in the White House, that was a resupply drop that got intercepted accidentally.
Yeah, probably so.
In Baltimore, there was a AFRAM festival, I guess. People all outside and stuff. And I just saw this at the beginning of your show, so I haven't had a chance to investigate it yet. And maybe you'll do a show on it. But a helicopter flew over and coincidentally dropped out billions of mosquitoes. And everybody in the crowd started slapping themselves and dancing around. It was funny, but it's not funny because I smell Bill Gates.
Yeah, that could be some C-19 type shenanigans going on.
Exactly. And I don't know why everybody's so calm because these people in Washington tried to kill us for almost 2 years.
They sure did.
Locking us down, shutting down the economy. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was agreeing. I was saying they sure did. I mean, they and to a certain extent, they were successful because they said suicides and all of that. Like I know here in Tennessee in Knox County, they said suicides went up. Like it was an astronomical amount. So to a certain extent, they did do it to us.
Yeah. And now in Ukraine, in 2015, Jacob Rothschild, and that's who's behind all the evil in the world right now, is the top banking families. They're behind the World Economic Forum, and their litmus test is that if you can believe that a man is a woman, then they can get you to believe any stupid thing they put on TV. That's the whole point of it. It's a psychological warfare, which after my first career of being in a, general's headquarters in charge of 3 countries worth of nuclear missiles, we perform stuff like that. So it doesn't work on me. And I look at it and I'm like, how in the world can these people be that damn stupid? But they're constantly bombarded with it. They just don't know how to tune it out. They can't recognize it for what it is. And a lot of it has to do with the education system, how far down America's fallen. We used to be number 1 in the world. When I went to high school, we were number 1. When Jimmy Carter made the Department of Education, we went down to 27.
Mm-hmm.
So government is not the answer. And as far as Russia goes, I was in Russia for 6 months in 2017, 3 months in Siberia and 3 months in Moscow. And I'm putting it out right now. If anybody for Trump's presidential campaign is on, once Trump's biggest mistake was he surrounded himself with backstabbing rats who are part of the Washington Uniparty. And the Washington Uniparty is the foundation of the swamp. They are the greasy oil that just, that and the lobbyist. But I'm going to put it out right now that I got more experience getting along and making peace and more respect from the Russians than every single person in Washington, D.C. combined. And I'm putting it out that I want to apply for ambassador to Russia. And I know exactly how we can make peace, a long-lasting peace, because the Russians don't hate us. And when they heard about the Russia cause, about the election fraud and how Russia was doing that, they were all like, what are they talking about? I don't know. I haven't got a clue. But I'm going to close with that, brother. Love your show. And people, we got to get our country back. And please pray for that girl that was abducted. I'm going to close with that. Love your show, brother. You take care.
Thanks for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you. All righty. All right. Shout out to you guys for being here, but that will be a wrap for me. You guys are always fantastic. Couldn't do the show without you. I'll be back live again on Wednesday, of course, and I'm here every day putting out new and original content, pre-recorded videos. If you're not subscribed yet, I don't know what you're waiting on. Go ahead and do that for me right now. That'll help me out tremendously. Also, this is a podcast you're listening to right now. It'll be available on your favorite audio streaming platform, whether that be Spotify, Google Play, Apple iTunes, etc. Link for that will be in the description box, or just visit your favorite audio streaming platform and search ABL Live. I should pop right on up. Shout out to you guys for watching, retweeting, super chatting, whatever you're doing. I thank you from the bottom of my heart. Again, could not do this show without you. And shout out to you guys for the super chats. I got a few more to read right here. Thank you to the mods for keeping the trolls nice and in check and everything above board. I appreciate that. Thank you to Monique Price for the dance emoji with a thumbs up. Thank you to whoever out of the reason who says, can you give a shout out to Sonia? She's listening. Shout out to you, Sonia. Shout out to you for watching. Glad you are here. Hopefully you enjoyed the show. All righty. And shout out to TryEdge716 who says, shout out to you, ABL, for always being on the ground for truth and awareness. Also, I applaud Tucker for being a menace and tackling the much needed questions. Oh yeah. He did amazing out there at the summit. Because it ain't a typical, interview or town hall where it might be softball questions. And it wasn't unnecessarily unfair. It was even. And I think that particular event represented how the people of America feel. So I really appreciated that. It didn't feel like it was just their network giving their opinion. It was about, they were trying to echo the opinion of the people to the candidates to get where they were at. So shout out to Tucker for doing that. Very, very good event. But that'll be a wrap for me. So until next time, y'all be safe. I'm out and peace.